Put the children to bed. It's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
So, Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
I love the efficiency of bourbon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and Aldo.
All right, I wasn't muted, Aaron.
Aaron's
Gotcha.
muted, though.
Is Aaron muted? He's
I think he is.
The,
I'm not hearing
I
his
was.
laugh.
I hadn't talked yet. It doesn't count. It doesn't count.
carrying on the tradition. What's happening,
Right.
Fireflies? Welcome to I Have a Stream. No, I'm kidding. It's the Dan and Aldo show. I'm gonna turn it over to Dan for a minute here, who's gonna talk about why Tooch is hosting and not the barkeeper. So go ahead.
Somber times, gentlemen. Somber times. I gotta tell you that I don't want to sound overly emotional. Don't want to make anybody think like, oh shit, something really bad is happening. But Aldo's not here, right? So, and for a while he didn't want me to tell anybody anything that was going on because he didn't know what was going on exactly. But quick summary I have for you is that somewhere in the middle of last week, he thought there was something wrong with his vision. He was describing it as fluttering, and he was concerned that maybe he had a cataract. So he was going to go get his eye checked out. And I don't want to speak for Aldo, but I mean, that was what he was telling me in text. Maybe it's a cataract, you know, maybe he didn't voice that specifically to his wife or to whomever, but that's what he told me. He thought maybe, I don't know, but he goes and it seems to me as the layman, this was worse because when you say the word stroke, I think, oh, fuck, because my grandmother had a stroke. It eliminated her consciousness and ultimately had another stroke, and that was that. Now, I'm not saying Aldo is anywhere comparable to that, so please don't overreact here. So this is what happened. They said that he had a mild stroke, which, again, almost sounds like a contradiction when you say mild stroke. Like, well, fuck, man. Like, can you have a mild heart attack or a mild stroke because you still had a stroke or a heart attack? But so he was in the hospital a few days. And again, during that time, he didn't want me to say anything to anyone because he didn't know they were doing tests. He's okay with people knowing now. The idea is he's going to get better. The fluttering in his eye seems to have dissipated, so that's good. He said he's not, he doesn't have paralysis on either side, or, you know, sometimes stroke victims, again, one side of their body will experience numbness and paralysis. And his voice isn't slurred yet. But from where he's at, he's not out of the woods yet specifically, even though he's home. They're doing tests on him. He's wearing a heart monitor for the next couple of weeks so they can just study and see where he's at. Right now, the biggest concern is that his blood pressure is not going down despite being on medicine. And that is the working theory that perhaps maybe that's what led to his problem anyway. So hopefully the medicine takes effect, his blood pressure goes down, and then everybody's, can breathe a sigh of fresh air kind of thing and be like, okay. But right now he's got to worry about that. Ultimately, if it doesn't come down, he's going to have to see a neurologist to ascertain what the further issue is. But the idea is maybe if the pills work, his blood pressure comes down, he's not paralyzed, he can still talk, he's still Aldo, functioning mentally and physically. So hopefully he'll be back with us in a few weeks and be himself. But right now he's got to chill. He can't get upset. He's just got to be as serene and docile as possible to get back to himself, to be normal. So that's why he's not here. Again, I'm not a religious person per se. I don't pray, but if anyone wants to pray for him, he would appreciate that. And again, if I didn't tell anyone specifically what was going on with him, I didn't want to make anybody mad or anything. I'm sorry. He told me not to say anything initially, and I didn't say anything initially. So I hope I didn't let you all down, anyone specific. I was afraid I made the other Dan pissed off because he caught wind of it. And I said, look, Aldo told me not to tell anybody. So I didn't. I mean, if someone tells you not to say what's up with me medically, I'm not going to say what's up with you medically.
Yep.
It's not a slight at anybody. So I hope everyone realizes that. And again, he's okay with everybody knowing now, because at least there is some outlook for a plan and some optimism. At least he hopes. We can all hope.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. I don't want to bring the show down per se, but I just wanted to explain to everybody where he is or where he isn't, why he's not here. And it is a big deal for me, man, because he's my guy, man. I mean, I've said this whenever we'd be having problems with the previous rendition of the show with Nomad and Dan, I would be telling them, like, look, man, I don't give a fuck about money or this or that and the other. Aldo's my friend. And I have conversations with Aldo that, like, I wish that I had with my dad. You know what I mean? Like, cause my dad died when I was 12. So I feel like in a lot of ways, I don't want to sound dramatic or sappy. A lot of ways, he's kind of like a father-like figure to me in some instances.
Oh yeah.
When we're watching games together from the 70s or talking about, talking about the sex or whatever, I'm having conversations with him because he's 20 years older than me that I wish I was having with my dad. So Aldo means a lot to me. So, and I hope he's going to be okay, but I just wanted everyone to know why he's not here.
Yeah. Barflies need to know. I mean, we're all praying for Aldo. I talked to him, I logged in here early. I know you guys came in here. I was already done loading all this material for tonight's show. But Aldo was here when I logged in. I got some time to chat with him and stuff, and it seems okay. So I wanted to share, like, I've known Aldo for about 6 years. I started at the barroom in 2017. Aldo started the whole barroom podcast in 2014. So he's been doing this for going on 4 years or 10 years now in 2024. And we're all praying for Aldo. Aaron, any memories? We want to, like, Aldo's not gone, but if you want to
honestly, I haven't talked
when you first met Aldo
as much as I would have liked.
Yeah,
it wasn't on a show. I think it might have been just passing, or we had him when I have a stream. I don't think at that time I hadn't spent too much time talking. Even still, I haven't talked to him as much as I would like. So he'll be back and he'll be around for a while, and we'll just keep rocking and rolling once he gets better. Sure. But until then, we'll carry the torch as much as we can.
And it's great that Dan was like, he's
on that
father figure for Dan. He's a big brother for me, Danny.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, even
I got the shirt on today.
Yeah, I've got that same shirt. Too bad I bought it. It's just like I feel like, well, maybe I set the bar too low. And that's where we needed to be, just North Champs, because I bought that stupid shirt. That's why we lost the Eagles. But see, initially what brought me to the show was Phil. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and telling bullshit anybody. Phil was my guy. I listened to him, and I wanted to be Phil's friend so badly. And for a while, I think we were. And I was Phil's fan. I'm not going to bullshit anybody. And then as a result of that, of course, I was talking to Shane and stuff. But even then, like when Aldo was like, well, hell, I want to talk to you too. I want to introduce myself. And back in those days, I was going through a divorce. I was really depressed. So Aldo wanted to talk to me. We spoke on the phone like an hour one night, just way back when, like 2018, when I was barely no one on the show, you know. And but he still wanted to talk to me. And then when they had their business problems, which have nothing to do with me, I'm not going to talk about that. As again, I wasn't involved in that, but he and I were talking a lot during that time, whether it was just like, hey, what are your thoughts on Godfather 2 or whatever. So ultimately, we had so many conversations about movies and, you know, like mid 80s football or whatever, that like independent of the show, I was already considering him like one of my best friends. And he said that to me too. And like we were talking in the middle of the night all the time via text. And so when they left, I was like, well, do I have to go too? I mean, like, you're my friend. I mean, again, Shane and I obviously, as many times had an argument that I take at least 50% of the blame for, and he and I are fine now. And he wished me luck when I said, well, I think I'm going to do a show with Aldo, actually. And so I haven't heard from Phil in years, but I really thought when I told him I was going to Soldier Field for the first time, like 3 years ago or whatever, that you know, he could relate to that and he'd reach out, and then he just left me at red, man. So, but whatever. The point is to say not to bury Phil or Shane, because they deserve whatever accolades they get, and they do a great show, and they do. And so I'm not
Phil's songs are brilliant, you know.
Phil's extremely talented, and I just wanted to be Phil's friend so badly at the time.
Yeah, Shane is one of the quickest wits I know. You know, you and Aldo included. You know.
Well, yeah, he's like, their show's
all
great.
Three of you
so
guys. Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and I told Aldo at the time, I thought that they were better off. They being the trio that was 100 proof were better together than apart. I still feel that way, but the bottom line is the reason I stayed was because of Aldo and I's friendship. So, and
for sure,
putting that all together, it's why giving you context of why this matters to me, even if like Aldo said, I'm not doing the show anymore, fuck this. I feel like he and I would still be friends. I hope he continues to do the show. He's never said that he wasn't. I'm just giving you context of the reason that I'm even here is because I'm his friend, you know?
Yep. And we got Aaron Mikulski here tonight. You saw Aaron last week. I was out last week. I was at my aunt's funeral. I didn't make it back from Chicago until like midnight on Tuesday. So I missed last week's show, but I did give it a listen. And we got a great show tonight, man. I have so much material. I think this is going to be the show where Dan and Aaron laugh the most, because I have so much material tonight. We got the Bears schedule came out last week. We're going to talk about the Bears schedule. A couple other things. I've got some fun with AI. We got a little segment called Tooch's Dick Pics coming up, which I think you guys will like. It's not what you think, though. Okay. Danny, I already told him what the thing was. But Danny, we'll go do a little Bears State of Affairs, because that's going to kick off, you know, like everything that we got to talk about.
Let me just say before you start.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass when I say this, I think you're underutilized on the show, period. So the only good thing about Aldo not being here is that I think you drive the car really well as the lead host. I said that to him. I'm super confident with you running the show. I'm super confident the other Dan was running the show. Both of you guys are great at this, and I'm happy for you. Like I said, you can show how good you are, man. So take it away.
I have a great time doing the show. Love you and Aldo and Aaron. So let's do a little Bears State of Affairs. Get that out of the way and get the show rolling. All right, Bears State of Affairs off-season week 18. What's happening, Barflies? Well, the 2023 NFL schedule has been released, and the Bears kick the season off with the home game against the Packers. Yeah, boy, oh boy, starting the season off with the win against the Cheez-Its would really kickstart 2023 for this young Justin Fields-led squad, not to mention their rabid fan base. Yeah, the Packers are without a stud quarterback for the first time since 1991, when they kicked off 31 years of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Not a lot of Bears wins during that span. But now the tide has turned, and the Bears will start off as the first opponent for new starting Packers quarterback Jordan Love. Doesn't it feel like we have the quarterback that can elevate the team, change the game, and lead the team to victory rather than the Packers having that guy? Sure, there are people out there who have their doubts about Justin Fields, but they're all idiots. The questions are out there. Can he be an effective pocket passer? Does he have the ability to make all the throws? Can he read the next level of defenses that teams are going to throw at him? Well, the schedule is out, and JF1 will have plenty of chances to change minds while turning heads. Yeah. And speaking of the NFL 2023 NFL schedule, the Bears are set to play in 4 primetime games this season, despite having the worst record in the NFL last season. Why is that? Could it be, I don't know, Justin Fields? Yeah. They'll play 2 on Thursday Night Football, Week 5 versus the Commanders, and Week 10 versus the Panthers. Yep, there's also a Week 8 Sunday Night Football game in Los Angeles versus the Chargers and Justin Herbert. Yeah, and a Week 12 Monday Night Football game versus Minnesota and the Vikings. Some highlights from the 2023 Bears schedule are a Week 3 game at the Super Bowl champion Chiefs and an afternoon home game on Christmas Eve versus the Cardinals. They also have a late bye week, Week 13 for the second year in a row, and they bookend the season with games against the Packers, facing them in Week 1 and Week 18. There's also a Week 4 home game against the Broncos and their new head coach and Naperville native Sean Payton, the former head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, the Bears will also have the 18th toughest schedule with an opponent winning percentage of .497 based on last season's win-loss records. So, a middle-of-the-pack schedule in terms of difficulty. Not only that, but the Bears will have the most rest of any team in the NFL this season in comparison to their opponent's schedules. Yeah, the Bears will have 2 weeks more rest throughout the season than their 2023 opponents. This year, the Bears will play 6 different games after more than a week's rest. Gotta like that. Well, Bears fan, on a sad note, maybe, I'm here to report that former Bears GM Phil Emery is retiring. Got a little Danny Aguirre photo here of our guy. Yeah.
At least Phil always said he wanted to win multiple championships, and so do I.
Yeah, he was most recently a senior level personnel executive with the Atlanta Falcons, working alongside another former Bears GM, Ryan Pace. Yes, Bears fans, it looks like Atlanta is where Bears GMs go to die. Week 17, the Bears will face the Ryan Pace Falcons. Anyways, I thought maybe a little painful stroll down memory lane in honor of Phil Emery might be in order, recapping the Bears GM career of Mr. Phil Emery. He was most known for firing Lovie Smith after a 10-6 season and replacing him with Montreal Alouettes coach Mark Trestman, choosing Trestman over future Super Bowl champion head coach Bruce Arians. Oh, what could have been. Yeah, after Trestman was fired, when Trestman was fired after second season, Emery was jettisoned along with Trestman. During his tenure as Bears GM, Emery traded for receiver Brandon Marshall. He gave Jay Cutler a 7-year extension, and he watched as Brian Urlacher ended his Hall of Fame career. Emery's first-round draft picks in 3 seasons were the disappointing Shea McClellan and 2 future Pro Bowl players, offensive lineman Kyle Long and cornerback Kyle Fuller. Bears went 10-6, 8-8, and 5-11 in Emery's 3 seasons as Bears GM. Rumored to be a voracious music fan, Emery quoted singer-songwriter Carrie Newcomer upon his December 29, 2014 firing when he read a 4-sentence statement and then quoted the relatively obscure music artist saying, "We stand breathless on the clean edge of change." Okay, easy, Phil. You can rest now. No more players to evaluate. Plenty of new music to listen to. And we do have some team news. Former Bears offensive lineman and Dan Aguirre favorite Sam Mustipher has signed with the Ravens. Yeah, the Owing Mills, Maryland native will return home and join former Bears linebacker Roquan Smith.
Thank God he's gone.
Well, I don't know, Danny, but I think the team just got a little better, and that is Bears state of affairs.
I'm telling you, the couple of Bears over the years that I hated the most, Joshua Bellamy and Sam Mustipher. So I'm so glad when both of those guys were gone, man.
Yeah.
Didn't Bellamy get arrested?
I think he did. He would always post these videos. He would always post these videos with like his kids having this extravagant, like not regular diapers, but like they had to be like $500 a piece. Just some like this guy. It's just like I didn't like his personality, didn't like him on the field, but like God, he acted like he was like Jerry Rice or somebody in his fucking videos, man.
Do we have some favorite Dan Aguirre, Phil Emery memories while I do a little work behind the scenes?
Yeah, Phil Emery wanted to win multiple championships. And the game that I loved so much in 2013 and almost went to, and the only reason I didn't is because they were calling for all this lake effect snow in Cleveland. It was real late in the year, and Jay had been out for a few weeks and got the start and led a big comeback. He threw this huge touchdown to Alshon Jeffrey when he got hit dirty, and it was a roughing the passer. He threw a touchdown to Earl Bennett, and Michael Bush broke like a 40-yard touchdown as the Bears would come back and beat Cleveland on the road. And after the game, or after the season when he got that extension, Phil Emery said that this was almost a quote, that he saw that Jay had stones with that comeback in Cleveland that impressed him, and that's why he gave him the extension. And as you know, I'm a big Jay Cutler guy. I loved Brandon Marshall, so I thought if they keep the band together, it's only going to be great. I mean, and it could have been, man. It's just one of those things you look back on and just like it's a missed opportunity, whether it's my marriage or it's just another one of those things in life where I'm just like, God damn, man, like this is not how it's supposed to have gone. But here we are.
Yeah, and I mentioned in Bears State of Affairs that the hiring of Trestman over Bruce Arians, that always ticked me off, guys. I wanted Bruce Arians for fuck's sake. Nobody wanted. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Well, that's the thing too. I'm sure you've seen the press conferences where like he left and went to the hotel room and he thought he had it. He's like, I got it. He's like, I got the job. And then like later, super early in the morning, they like called him and said, no, he didn't get it. Like he left legitimately. Was it CHGO had him on during the Super Bowl, and he was telling that story where he's like, yeah, he's like, I left. I was certain that the job was mine, and just chalk it up to one more thing. We're like, oh, this is the guy you picked. Who you picked? Who? Like that's the yeah. That was Phil Emery, not Emery. Trestman. Sorry, yeah, you're right.
He fired Lovey after a 10-6 season. I was like, Lovey shouldn't have been fired.
No,
I thought, Lovey shouldn't have been fired after 10-6.
I disagree.
Yeah, okay. People were calling for Lovey with 10-6, though, Danny.
But this is what, and I love Lovey. Let me just stress that.
Yep.
I love Lovey Smith. I loved him. The fact that we got the number 1 pick this year and all that with Lovey going for 2. Like, thank you, Lovey.
Yeah.
And taking us to the Super Bowl, almost winning it. How can you not love Lovey Smith? But the Bears were 7-3 in 2011, and Donovan McNabb is going on TV every week saying like, hey, I'm from Chicago. I went to Mount Carmel. I'd love to finish my career with the Bears. And he's just there every week saying, please fucking sign me the way Robbie Gould is now. Mm-hmm. And we didn't sign him. And they're 7-3, and they lose every game without Jay except the last one of the year. And that's where Urlacher gets hurt because of Major Wright in Minnesota. Josh McCown starts, and we win. But they went from 7-3 to 8-8. Now that cost Angelo his job. So they give Lovey one more shot. Phil Emery takes the job, and the Bears are 7-1 in 2012. Coming off a 7-3 year, no less. 7-1, and they finished 10-6. But again, it's 2 straight collapses. That's why Lovey was fired. 2 straight collapses, not just being 10-6, which is what people always say. It's 2 straight collapses, 7-3 to 8-8, 7-1 to 10-6, and neither time making the playoffs. That's why he was
and people just got kind of sick of Love. I mean, he was a bit terse, or some people would say secretive.
He hated Brad Biggs.
Yeah, with the media, He was a bit standoffish with the media. People got tired of the shtick a little bit. A lot of it happened. We got Jay Cutler, but the thing was we didn't have a quarterback for the longest time. That played a big part in whether or not any Bears coach would have success or failure. The getting Jay Cutler, but then we were unable to find an offensive coordinator and kind of more of the team to build around him. Danny,
that's one of the things I wanted to say. I'm so glad you went there. Is that in 2010 when they ultimately hired Mike Martz, and I know it's because of Lovey. Yeah, he was a defensive coordinator for the St. Louis Rams when Mike Martz was the head coach. But I know it's because of his loyalty to Mike Martz. But what could have been, gentlemen, I don't know if many people remember this. Mark Trestman got an interview for OC then. Now, just follow me on this hypothetical. If Trestman could take the 2013 Bears offense, which was the best that we'd probably had ever in our lifetime, with Martellus and Alshon and Brandon Marshall and Cutler and Forte. Now, not to say the same players are in position. You still had Forte, you still had Cutler. But point is, what if they hire Trestman in 2010 and he still has Lovey, so Trestman doesn't have to try to lead the whole team, which he was incapable of doing because people didn't respect him. But if he's just the OC and can just work on the offense, meanwhile Lovey's still there and kind of overseeing the team when the team respects him, way more than they ever would Trestman, and Lovey can help with the D, that maybe we win the Super Bowl in 2010 if they hire Trestman as the OC. Because we can't take that away. Trestman knows offense, man. Yeah, everywhere he goes, he's done a good job as a coordinator.
So when Trestman was coach, I know we had Cutler still, but it seemed like other quarterbacks were kind of having a little more success in that offense. I remember what was that guy's
Josh
name?
McCown.
Josh McCown, yeah, and was it? God, there was another guy too. I can't remember.
If you're mentioning Matt Barkley, that was with
Matt
John
Barkley.
Fox. That was with John Fox.
Okay,
yeah. That was in the debacle 2016 season when we were 3-13, which is just one of the least, that's probably in hindsight, maybe the only season I've ever had. And there've been a lot of bad Bears seasons, but that season I had no hope whatsoever. I mean, I was just like, God, can it end? This is the worst year of my life, football wise.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, man, Mark Trestman built a good offense. Of course, then the defense was a little faulty, though,
That's what I'm saying. But if you still have Lovey, if they still have Trestman as the OC, and Lovey commands respect with the team and got that respect, and then if he was there to help solidify the defense, and at that time Urlacher hadn't gotten hurt yet. Again, he got hurt on a meaningless play in the end zone because Major Wright destroyed his fucking knee. I mean, I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose, obviously, but I'm just saying maybe he's not even in that spot. If Trestman's a coordinator, and what it could have been. I mean, maybe that's what would have gotten us over Aaron Rodgers in the championship game.
Right, and I believe the defensive coordinator of Trestman was Mel Tucker.
Yeah, who ended up having success at Alabama or somewhere in college?
Michigan State.
No, I mean as a coordinator before he became the coach. It was somewhere in the SEC, maybe Georgia, or Alabama.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
and so
somewhere in the SEC. Yeah.
Those 2 years with Tucker at defense were probably the all-time worst until our friend Alan Williams came in last year, when the whole defensive line was like, hey, I'm just going to stand up flat-footed like a fucking pillow fight and not do anything. And the secondary is like, we're not going to stop any passing. Are you kidding? And the linebacker's like, we're not going to tackle, except for Sanborn, who got hurt. And then after that, it was a shit show, man. God, the defense last year was terrible. Alan Williams is lucky as hell he didn't get fired. He deserved it.
Yeah. I know you're not a fan.
I'm not a fan because the product was so fucking terrible on the field. And at the very least, the defensive line coach should have been fired. God, no one's ever seen a defensive line that can't tackle or rush the passer. But that's what we had. No one can get any penetration when your job's to get penetration. And like I said, they're all standing flat-foot. I mean, that's why they're being pushed around. And if I can see that being dumb fuck nowhere in West Virginia, how come the Bears defensive line coach can't see that?
Yeah. You guys want to talk about the Bears 2023 schedule?
Yes, let's do that.
All right. So, like I said, in Bears State of Affairs, I'm just going to do a little preamble here, Danny, Aaron. The Bears opened with the Packers. Now, Danny, when was the last time we opened with the Packers?
19, the year we thought we were going to Super Bowl. Bears 100, Thursday night football.
Right.
Mitchell Trubisky, we lose 10-3. Thank you, trader Adrian Amos with the pick.
Yeah,
And then tied us. And then before that, it was 2015, John Fox's first game. And I was like, this is going to start. We got rid of, Tressman and Phil Emery, and now we got new GM and new coach. This is where we take it back right here, opening day. The Bears did look good that game, and led at halftime, but lost, of course, in the second half. Another depressing loss. Before that, they hadn't played on opening day since in Chicago since 81 or something. So, but this is the third time in recent years now that we've opened the season. But I'm still afraid to talk any shit about Jordan Love because you don't want to be presumptuous and think, this is, it's a late start. It's going to be dark. It's going to be prime time. We're going to fucking kick his ass. And you don't want to leave 3 hours after that and say we jump-started Jordan Love's career and are 0-1. Like that, the idea of that just makes me want to fucking die in my sleep.
We just can't, Danny. All right. Like I said in Bears State of Affairs, this season will be the first time since 1991. When the Bears
do you know the answer to that? I can tell you who the quarterback was the last time we played them, and it's an interesting answer. The last time we played them, it wasn't. The answer is Mike Tomczak.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was on the Packers.
Yeah, Mike Tomczak versus Jim Harbaugh in 1991, real late in the year, and Harbaugh was victorious. Thank God.
Man, that's why we love Dan Aguirre, everybody. Let's see what the chat room is saying. The chat room didn't even remember that one, Aldo. I know, Dan. All right. So, like I said, the Bears open up against the Packers. And you know what, Danny? So you're saying there's a chance we could beat the Packers, Aaron? Look at that. One of my favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
Let's throw up that schedule there. All right. Week 1 against the Packers. Man, I think we've got a great chance to start off the season with a victory, guys. What do you think, Danny?
I just didn't want to take all of Aaron's time, but I mean, you got to win. You got to win that
behind the scenes.
On paper. Again, on paper, like anything could happen, but on paper, you're more than likely going to lose at KC. More than likely, if you had to bet money. Now, Tampa, you can say, they don't have Tom Brady, but it's going to be like 95 degrees or 100 degrees in week 2 in Florida. And you remember when we went down there in 2018 and the Bears were just not ready. They're giving up 80-yard screen passes to wide receivers. That's the game where Cody Parkey ultimately missed a field goal. Imagine that, to lose. But I'm just saying sometimes the heat can expose you if you're not ready. Like, I don't know, Matt Nagy did not have them ready conditioning-wise. Even Dan Hampton would say that Mac was out of shape the whole time he was here. So hopefully the Bears will be ready for Florida because that's a truth machine down there at that in the fucking heat. So
Kyle Long said that he lost 10 pounds in one game down there one time when it was this fucking ungodly hot. Didn't he say he lost 10 or 15 pounds just during the game?
Exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. But let's say for some reason you lose to the Packers and then maybe you lose to KC and then, oh my God, you lose in that heat trap game. You could start 0-3. So it's so important to take care of business there from a morality sense with Green Bay to say, okay, it's a new day. Not to play off the New Day in the WWE from back in the day, but it's a new opportunity to win the division. You take care of that, then you can get some momentum. Maybe you go to Florida and it's like an NFC Central game from 91. Ugly, you win 10-6 or something. Okay. And then maybe you got some momentum and then you go to Kansas City and then maybe you upset them. No. So it's all about feel though, if for some reason you go to KC and you're 2-0 and you're confident and you're sticking your chest out, maybe that's a game you get to Mahomes and get a fumble, a strip sack, an interception, something crazy, a special teams play that goes our way to get some mojo. The games that we always find a way to lose when you just feel like so negative. something always goes wrong. But when you're winning, things like that go your way. So it's so important to beat Green Bay in week 1, in my opinion.
That's one thing too, piggybacking off what you're just talking about, Dan, is how many times last year do we hear the Bears need to learn how to win? Like, we kept losing, and there were multiple games that we thought we'd have a chance in, and we never capitalized. We never put the bow on it, so to speak. So kind of piggybacking off what you're saying, it's like if we get rolling and the team learns how to capitalize on that kind of shit and keep that stuff moving, then maybe it'll be totally different. Because like you said, that's the most Bears thing possible, is to get a lead and then blow it, or have something good happen and then blow it. It always seems like we're our own worst enemy. So if we get our stuff together, then who knows?
So the Packer game is so important. It's going to be the main national TV game for the doubleheader, 3:25 Central, 4:25 my time. I mean, so most of the country is going to see it. And if you lose to Green Bay again, they're going to be like, see, I told you, the Bears, same old Bears, they fucking suck. We don't need Aaron Rodgers. We don't need Brett Favre. We can stick anybody in there to beat those sorry-ass Bears. So you got to beat the bully, man. You got to find a way to win that game. It can't be like Trubisky getting picked off in the end zone, or in 2015 you have a lead and blow it, or 2018 opening day in Green Bay where you have that big lead in Mac's first game and you blow it. You have to beat them. We have not beaten them in 5 years. Yep. This is it, man. You've got to fucking win.
Yeah, it's a great point, Danny, because it's really, because the Packers bookend the season for 1 and 18. It's like you have to win first week. If let's say you lose one, you start the season off on a sour note, where people are like you said, same old Bears. In week 18, you finish the season on a down note, where people say same old Bears. So yeah, like you're saying, look, I'd be happy if the first 3 games, if we're 2-1, man, the season's looking pretty good. And you go into Denver, Washington, week 4 and 5.
Denver's at home.
Yeah. Denver, we're at home. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying we're playing the games that we're playing. The next week 4, we go against Denver, and week 5 against the Commanders. And I know the Commanders beat us last year, but those are 2 winnable games.
The Commanders are sneaky too. Tooch, I'm telling you, if you think back,
defense is great.
But no, fuck. I'm not even giving them props for this specific team. But in a vague sense, Washington has been beating us since 1986. Like, I'm not kidding. The Redskins beat us.
Right. Like the Dolphins.
Yeah, but the Redskins beat us in now we beat them in 88 in the regular season, but they beat us in the playoffs in 86 and 87. They beat us in 91. We could go through the litany. The only game I can think of, I mean, they beat us on my birthday in 99 on Halloween, like 51-17. They beat us in 97 that way. Like, this is dirty, but the day I received my first blowjob, the Bears were getting blown out by the Redskins, and Curtis Conway threw his helmet in 97. So it's just like, man, we've been trounced by these guys. The only time we beat them in recent memory was in 01 when they pulled out a fake field goal and Urlacher maybe caught a touchdown on it in 2001. But that's the only time we've beaten them in in 88. And every other time we find a way to lose to them. So they're almost like a sneaky Green Bay in the sense they've been beating us for a fucking generation. Fuck the Redskins or the Commanders or whatever. We got to take those assholes down.
Yep. And I mean, we were so close last year. We almost won. That was the game where Mooney just didn't cross the threshold with the ball, right?
Or Fields couldn't connect with the backup tight end. What's his fucking name? Guy wasn't running hard. 84. He's not with us anymore. I don't mean he died. He's not with the Bears anymore. Either way, Fields has to complete that touchdown pass. But yeah,
Ryan
that game was ours.
Is his name Ryan something?
Griffin.
Ryan Griffin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if Fields completes that touchdown there, we win the game outright anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough game to lose.
The Dolphins are another team that just happened to beat us all the time during the regular season, But all right, week 6 we get the Vikings, home versus the Vikings, and home versus the Raiders. Vikings.
It's a game that Aaron and I are going to meet that day.
Right, you guys are going to what, the Raiders game?
Yes.
Yeah, I was planning on it. I don't think it's going to happen now. The one person we always had to watch our dog is available, so I don't think it's going to be an option.
Well, Dan,
Yes,
there's that.
I was pumped because I had my buddy's Raiders fan, never been to a game. We were going up, and she just got a new puppy, and my dog's kind of a handful, so kicking the nuts. But yeah, hopefully one of these days, man. But that sucks.
Yeah, that Commanders game is on Thursday Night Football on a 4-day turnaround, so that'll be interesting.
We've got 2 Thursday night games, which is
2 Thursday night games.
Yeah,
Danny,
that's hard, man.
Why do you think the Bears have 4 primetime games this season?
The Bears always have the bare minimum number because the Bears always are equivalent to ratings.
How many did we have last year?
4 or 5. That's what I'm saying. Like I could come out. It's easy for me to say,
I thought it was
Justin
3.
I could say, Justin Fields is the reason. And but the Bears always generate good ratings. We could just be one of those years where we have Matt Barkley or somebody awful at quarterback, and the Bears are still going to be in prime time because the Bears fans, as you know, we're fucking loyal and we're going to watch even if they suck. So they have us in prime time because we're going to watch, and that's going to give them ratings.
There's a rumor that Kansas City was asking the league not to schedule us in Germany against them. They wanted us at home, and I think it was for that reason. I don't know how much say each team has with that kind of thing, but there's a rumor going around that Kansas City was asking the league to put Chicago at home for them because the Chicago Bears fans travel well.
One of my favorite wins ever was in 2015 when Cutler went to Arrowhead and beat them, and the guy we had signed the year before to play center broke his leg against the Raiders, so we had to put in Hronis Grasu starting at center, his first ever game, and he was so light and so shitty. And then they put Cam Meredith in at wide receiver, who had used to have been a quarterback because we had nobody. He had Marquise Wilson and Cam Meredith in his first start that day at wide receiver, and had a center that was just god awful that makes Sam Mustipher look like Jim Otto or someone. And Cutler still brought the comeback and beat them at Arrowhead. It was great. 2 touchdowns late in the game to win, the last one to Forte. Loved it.
All right, so let's see what we got here. That game is in Arrowhead. Retro wants to go with you. Wants to go to the game with you in Washington. Are you going to go make the trip to DC?
I can't go to that. Aldo may mention to that one as well because it's a Thursday night game. It's just so hard for me to travel 6 hours and miss a couple of days of work. See, my radio gig is I'm part-time at radio after I got laid off and came back. I came back part-time. So if I miss here, it's unpaid. Like my 911 gig will be paid, but so that means I'd have to miss 2 days unpaid of radio to do that, to go on a Thursday and a Friday. That's a little steep for me. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So I was going to ask you guys what you think. I mean, I went through this. I'm like, the games that are winnable are like 11 games they could win. I'm not saying they're going to win, but there's like 11 winnable games. They could beat the Packers week 1. They could definitely beat the Buccaneers. Aren't going to be that good this year. Baker Mayfield at quarterback. Their defense, their secondary is not any good. Their offense really isn't going to be that good. The Chiefs probably not a win. The Broncos, we could win that game. Commanders, we could win that game. Might not though, because with the luck we have with Washington. Then you got the Vikings, who are probably with the Lions, probably the favorites to win the division. I think Packers are probably. The Packers took a step back last year. Let's not kid ourselves, right? They were 8-8. What were the Packers? 7. They were 8-9. Packers.
Yeah, something like that. Detroit put them out, and
they're 8-9 or 7-10 last year. The Packers, but the Lions and
Minnesota's lost a lot of people. So I'm not. Yeah, and everyone, I think myself included, we don't give Cousins enough credit. I don't like him personally, so. Ever since he was yelling, "You like that?" I've always been like, "Fuck that guy." Yeah. So it's like, I wish the worst for him, but he's had stats. If like Fields or Trubisky would have had, or even Cutler, we'd have been pounding our dicks like, "Oh my God, look at those stats." But You just never know. I could see Minnesota like coming way back to earth. Like they won 13 games last year. A lot of those were fluky at the end. I could see them taking a step back. Green Bay kind of on par with us now. And you never know with Detroit. You got a crazy coach talks about drowning people and shit. So it's just like I could see them taking a step back too. I don't know. I think we're in play for the division. I really believe it.
Yeah, I think division's wide open. If I had to pick one front runner, honestly, for me, I think it'd be Detroit.
Yeah, I do too. I'll put Don Byrne a timeout where we can praise Detroit for a little bit. Hold on. Just kidding. He's in the chat room. I don't want him to hear us say that Detroit's good. They're gonna be good this year.
Hey man, give credit where it's due. It's even last year I was like I'm never gonna root for them, but if there's one team that's not Chicago that's doing well in the North, why not the fucking Lions for a change, man? I'm down. Go get it done. Just not Green Bay. Okay. That's my fucking like bottom line. Like I want the Bears to be on top, obviously Vikings, whatever, but like just not Green Bay. I'm so fucking sick of them. Like the Lions, it's like you don't get to see the Lions. So go do your thing, dude. Like show us what's up. Or the Lions gonna be the Lions like they are every time.
I went through the schedule and I was like, I see 11 games the Bears could win. Like I'm not saying they're going to win. So 11-6 would put us in contention for, first or second in the division. So
I would love to see us hit Mahomes the way that the 07 Giants hit Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Just hit that, put his dick in the dirt over and over and over and over. I'm not conceding that game because I hate Patrick Mahomes so much. I want the Bears to beat them at Arrowhead, and it has nothing to do with him being biracial. I don't give a fuck what his race is. If he was white, I would still feel equally adversarial toward that man.
Yep.
Well, we'll be playing him. We'll get to root against him this time. Week 3 early in the season. Any other things you guys want to say about the schedule? If you were to just throw out a number of wins and losses.
I just want to say quickly, I'm glad that it's not Minnesota in week 18 again. It's like
that's for sure, man. I thought that same thing.
Year.
I was so pumped when you told me that it was going to be Packers at the beginning at the end.
It's just something different, just
and it was always at Minnesota. If it was like Minnesota in Chicago, fine. But...
It was last year because I was actually at
was it really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you like 7 years in a row before that.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm glad that they switched it up. Now, the last time we went to Lambeau to finish the year was our 2010 year. Remember, we tried to knock them out and we lost 10-3. That put Green Bay in the playoffs, and they ultimately won the Super Bowl. So, but hey, we were good.
The Caleb Haney game, right? Caleb Haney and Jay hurt his knee.
And that big 400-pound guy, BJ Raji, with the pick six. Oh, God. That's like one of the...
Gag me with a spoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. He caught it, and I was just like, I was so beside myself. I was at a party. I was like, this is the worst thing on the planet. That big fucking fatty got the ball and scored a touchdown. This is I was so mad.
It seems like Bears. Bears is. It doesn't matter if it's Jay Cutler or fucking Vince Evans, whoever. In my lifetime, if a quarterback, the Bears throw more interceptions to defensive linemen than any other team. Period. That happens with anybody. That's Jim McMahon probably has something like that. There's always an interception by the D line. Why does that always happen to us?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm the same way, dude. I have no idea.
And BJ Raji, how many picks did he have? And how many touchdowns did he have? I'm sure that was one.
Yep. You got it.
Let's find out. I'll look it up.
Fuck, man. That was so heartbreaking. Just so heartbreaking the way that went.
Like we one. Oh, no. It's the first one that came up. That might be the only one. How many sacks?
So what do you think, Danny? Throw out a number for a record.
I don't know. I don't want to do it because you never. Not that I should play long. I'm not trying to not play long, but you just never know the context of the matchup. Like there's always a team that goes from worst to first. And then, you never know like what quarterback is going to be hurt or something in the context. It's so hard on May 16th to look at a matchup in September and be like, well, we know this is going to happen because we don't know. So, I mean, who would have thought last year after the Russell Wilson trade that he would just play like the worst season in the history of the game? I'm exaggerating, but like I don't know if anyone. I'm just so glad the Bears didn't get him because he was so bad in Denver last year, and the whole team hates him. Who could have predicted that?
Who is it?
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
The whole team hates him, and he played dreadfully. So, like, if this were last year, like for example, in 2022, if you had Denver, you'd be like, "Oh, we could play Russ." Yeah, but now you never know because the team hates him. So will they play for him? They've got a really good coach now in Peyton, so maybe they will. But
they do.
You just never know, man. And then like the Pittsburgh, for example, has 2 Thursday night games, and both of theirs are at home. So we've got the Thursday night game and have to travel. And even so, the New Orleans game in week 9 is a road game. And even though we play Carolina at home, we're still traveling back from Louisiana. So a couple of those are hard games there. But then again, you get a mini bye afterwards too. So, and both of those after the mini bye are against divisional opponents in Detroit and Minnesota. So I'm just saying maybe that ends up going our way, but it's just too hard to foresee right now. And you got Arizona on Christmas Eve, Atlanta New Year's Eve. Remember when Rex was bad against Green Bay on New Year's Eve and blamed New Year's Eve for the reason he played badly?
Jesus fucking Christ, I forgot about that.
Maybe Atlanta does that. Maybe whoever's playing quarterback.
I hope so, because I got a buddy who's a Falcons fan. He's been talking mad shit. So Neil, if you're listening, they're going down.
Ritter quarterbacking the Falcons. I mean, we got
maybe Ritter says I was thinking about getting blown on New Year's Eve too, and I threw a couple of pick sixes to the Bears, and anything we can take. I just don't know. It's hard for me to sit here and say I know what's going to happen. I just if I prayed. And even though I wouldn't necessarily pray for frivolous things, but if I did, I'd just say, please let us beat Green Bay in week 1, and we'll see where the cards go after that. But if they start 0-1, that's such a kick to the fucking balls, man.
Because this year and this roster with this team is, and same with the Green Bay, is such an unknown at this point, I'm not going to put too much stake. Obviously, I want to fucking win. Nothing would make me happier than to kick those dudes in the teeth right off the get-go. But with as little as we know, for me, it's just an evaluation. I just want to see the team go out with the W. Great. Even and obviously I want to win. If we lose and it's a good game and we see, Fields slinging it and we see stuff out of the rookies and the line's holding up and our defense does something, then I'll be okay with it. But it's just, I feel like because this year with this new roster, granted we have the same coaching staff, it's such an unknown for me that it's almost, and you do the same thing every year, but I feel like a couple weeks in, week 3 or 4, it's always worth doing an exercise again. It's okay, what's the rest of the season going to look like? If you come out like I think we'll be 8-9, reevaluate in week 4 or 3, given everything we've seen, with the other teams and with Chicago, kind of a deal.
Well, I'll tell you, if last season's any indication, Matt Eberflus has a lot of time to prepare. He won last year against the 49ers. That was a pretty good team. So, with a lot of
predicted a win in that game, by the way, on air.
Monsoon.
So
Dan was at that game. The other Dan, I'm not speaking in third person. The other Dan was at that game.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Bears for that first week. I think Eberflus will have the guys return ready to go, and the Jordan Love Packers, we got a chance there. It's not Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we don't really know what Jordan Love's going to be, but he's not going to be Aaron Rodgers.
But we said that about Rodgers with Favre, though.
Yeah, I won't say if I'm the same train as Dan. I'm not going to say a fucking thing because you never know. Yeah, he sucks that he's the next coming of Christ on the Green Bay side.
Yeah. All right. So you guys want to move on from the schedule? Aaron, do you want to toss out a number just off the top of your head?
8-9.
Good.
That's where I'm at.
All right.
I mean, that's roughly 3 times better than last year. I just it's tough to tell. I mean, I've tried to damper my expectations. I don't think it's, there's some people's like the playoffs are the floor. We have to make the playoffs. And I agree we've got to get close, but it's one of those, we're still building. We don't know. Admittedly, we don't know what we have in Fields yet. We know what we could have. We know what we've seen, but we don't know if he's going to get that extension. We still don't know if he's the guy. I don't know. I'm going to catch hate for that, but I mean, just realistically, I personally, and I'm not a football guru by any means, but I feel like there's still a lot we need to see out of him.
Well, let's take a look and see what Vegas says. The Bears over/under win total 7.5 wins. Not bad. What would you say, Danny? Over 7.5 or under 7.5?
You're never going to get me to be negative and say under 7.5.
Right.
Just, even if I thought that they were going to do it, I'm never going to say they're going to suck. Never. Because
Over
if they do, I'm
7.5.
going to blame myself.
How about Aaron? Over 7.5?
7, yeah, over.
All right. I think, like I said, I look at there and I see at least 11 games that are winnable. Are they going to win them all? No. I'll take over 8. I mean, I like the over last year too. It didn't work out, but that was a rebuilding season, maybe possibly a tank season. But how about the odds to win? The Bears winning the Super Bowl plus 6,000, which is 60-1 odds. Fair or unfair odds, Danny?
I hate to say it, but I'll call that fair. We don't deserve the credit yet because we haven't done anything. But I think the Bears are going to be better than what. But I say that every year. But I legitimately believe in Justin. So if the offensive line can play, I mean, we only drafted one lineman, so that still bothers me. But maybe if the line plays better with better wide receivers, better tight ends, maybe that running back we drafted is really good. I like the guy from Carolina.
He is. I've heard a lot of good shit about Roshan Johnson. Even
Bijan
Robinson has been saying good shit about him.
So maybe the Bears are going to be better. They can't be any worse on defense. And they signed like Edmonds and a couple people on the side that were good. So I don't see any way that the Bears are any worse. And even, God forbid, if Justin Fields gets hurt, the Walker kid from Carolina that we signed can play okay and has a similar style to Fields. So you know how, like in past years, if the starter got hurt, the backup was so different and antithetical to the starter that you had to shift the offense. You know, whether it be Andy Dalton and Fields or last year with Trevor Siemian. But now if Fields goes down, they can run the same offense essentially. So that goes a long way too. I think the Bears are going to be better. I do, guys. I do.
I definitely agree. I think twice as good at the very least. I think 6 wins would be, and I don't know about acceptable, but realistic floor for me would be 6 wins. I think we ought to have twice as many wins as we did last year.
All right.
If you were a woman, I'd kiss you.
All right. So I got a few segments here. The first one, this is a little spot here. It's called Tooch's Dick Pics. And I explained to Danny when it's not pics of my joint. So it's
well, I'm
pics
not
of people.
now. Just saying.
What? So this is pictures of tweets where people who either are dicks to the Bears or they're just dicks in general, or there are dicks, like guys who are dicks to other people that are on our side. So I'll just run through some of these. Let's go to it would be a dick pic without this guy, Danny. He's probably the biggest Bears dick. I'll talk about Skip Bayless, who says, "I still can't believe the Bears chose Justin Fields over Bryce Young." I got to say, I like Chi-Town Javier, who gave a nice big shut the fuck up. But what do you think about Dick?
I think Bayless is
Skip Bayless.
Skip was in Chicago for so many years. I think he's just a provocateur who wants to get us riled up, but I don't view him as annoying like I do Chris Sims. I don't know if you got him in there. Like someone like Chris Sims just constantly is talking shit about Justin. That makes me want to fight that guy. But Skip Bayless, I feel like he's just doing his shtick. But someone like Chris Sims, who isn't qualified at all, is really saying shit personal. Like he's really malicious toward the Bears. I think Skip is just an entertainer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was looking for that Chris Sims tweet. I couldn't find it, but there's lots of other ones where Chris Sims has been like,
he basically said the Fields still can't throw.
Yeah, he's so flippy-floppy, dude, because he was bashing Fields. And at some point last year, he's like, I was wrong. Yeah, Fields is good. Look at him run. He can do this. He's impressed. And now he's like, he can't do anything. Of course, you know what? If you're going to rile up one fan base, you're going to rile up the Bears because we're a volatile bunch. So I totally get it.
Well, I'll say this about Chris. He's got a job in the NFL back in like 05 with Tampa because his dad was the Super Bowl MVP. And then he got a job with the network because his dad's been working with CBS and before that ESPN. So Phil Simms, Super Bowl MVP, and a lot of people didn't like him doing games. Whatever. He's called Super Bowls. He's been mega successful, whether you like him or not, and as a player and a broadcaster. And in both instances, Chris benefited only because of who his dad was. Nepotism. If his name was Chris fucking Smith, we've never heard from him. We'd never hear from him. He's terrible as a quarterback. He's terrible as a broadcaster. He's a fucking. Amen. He should have been shot. His load should have been in a condom or in a whore's mouth. It should have never been conceived.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of right to talk because he wasn't that great of a quarterback, Danny. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah,
and he's a bad broadcaster.
Yeah. All right, so I got another dick here. I want to see if Don Burr was still around, but
you were going to show Don Burr's pic?
No. This guy.
The St. Yeah, I heard that.
Amon Ross St. Brown, Equanimous' little brother. Worst fan base ever, Danny. What a dick. Amon Ross St. Brown trashes Bears fans.
And he was saying it because the Bears fans were sitting quiet on their hands at the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because we were trading down and stuff. I mean, we didn't know when we were going to pick. And I can assure you, the Bears fans, when Justin was drafted 2 years ago, we weren't just sitting on our fucking hands. Like, we were all about to beat our cocks simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So now we were all simultaneously booing when they drafted Mitchell Trubisky, conversely.
Yeah. Worst
except Michael.
Damn. Fuck this guy. All right.
He's good though. St. Brown's good.
He's great. Great player. All right. So how about one where we got this guy's our dick? Yeah. Barroom's own Greg Gabriel. Bears should refuse to sell any tickets to people from Wisconsin. Yeah. I love this for the home opener. He's our dick, Aaron.
That's our boy. All right, Greg.
That's our dick.
That's funny.
Yeah. He may be a bully, but he's our bully. They should penalize any season ticket holders to sell their game tickets to cheeseheads. Amen, Greg. Right? What do you think, Danny? Should we sell? We talked about this a little bit. Should we sell tickets?
When you say cheesehead, I always think instantly of an STD. I'm like, man, he's got discharge coming out of his fucking cock and head cheese. He doesn't wash. So yes, I like it. And first off, let me shout him out real quick. I asked him to come on the show tonight. He says he will next week. Ron, God, what's Ron's last name? I'm going to fuck this up, but he's supposed to hook us up with really good tickets for that Raiders game. And I don't want to mispronounce his name. It's spelled Milazzo. Is it Milazzo?
I guess, yeah.
Milazzo. He says he'll come on next week. He's going to hook us up with some tickets. And so he's a season ticket holder, and he's helping a Bears fan and myself and Aldo. So, yeah, keep that up. Season ticket holders, the Green Bay fans, come on, man. You don't need money that bad. You wouldn't be season ticket holders if you did.
Fair enough.
Yep, fair enough. All right, so that's our dick, Greg Gamble. He's all ours. How about this one's where I was a dick. You have Clay Harbor, former Bears tight end. Give me your thoughts on Darnell Waite, Chicago. There's Tooch down there. I think he's about 335 pounds, Clay.
Yeah, that's one thing I've heard is I don't know. Of course, everyone's like, he's too heavy. They're worried about it. They're not, dude. You put that guy in the fucking weight room.
He mistyped. Either that or it was autocorrect. Give me your thoughts on Darnell Wright. But he put.
Yeah, they're right next to each other. That's hilarious. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's funny.
Darnell Wright. I think he's about 335 pounds, Clay.
Here's another we've heard about Darnell was that he had the ability to get beaten up and wasn't overly tired. So in spite of that weight, he obviously carries it well because he had conditioning enough to work his ass off to impress them.
Darnell Wright signed a contract today with the Bears, 4-year deal worth almost $21 million. He got a $12 million signing bonus. Bears also signed Zach Pickens and I believe Tyler Scott today. So they're working on signing the whole draft class. This guy, Danny,
I want them to tell us that Robbie Gould. That's where I was going. How about that? Robbie Gould. I want them to say the Bears have re-signed Robbie Gould and Leonard Floyd. That's what I want to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I keep. Did you guys see? I was reading an article not too long ago. Well, the show was even going that Poles said something you could even expect a edge rusher soon, be it Chase Young or Yannick Ngakoue or I think there's one other name. I can't remember who else it was, but it sounds like Poles is on the phones working shit out.
Well, I'll tell you, I think we'll probably if we're going to end up with something, I think it'll be Yannick Ngakoue, and I'll tell you that. Today, note came out in the news that the Commanders weren't looking to deal Chase Young, so that would be one off that.
Well, he's got a history of injuries too, doesn't he?
Frank Clark has a little like off the field issues. Yannick, kind of the cleanest of the free agent defensive ends out there. So, but getting back to Robbie Gould and Ryan Pace, Robbie Gould said on ESPN, Waddle and Sylvie show, 2019, Ryan Pace tried to bring him back. Danny, wasn't Ryan Pace the guy that let him go?
Well, and again, deservedly so, because at the time, Robbie was missing game-winning kicks. He missed when Trestman went for the win on second down in Minnesota. It was from 47, and Robbie missed it. And everyone criticized Trestman, but that was a big comeback, and he thought Robbie would hit it. He missed it. He missed a game winner against the Redskins. He missed a game winner against San Francisco. I mean, and then he was missing extra points in the preseason when they cut him. So at the time, he was running his mouth, comparing himself to Michael Jordan, and was missing kicks and was earning $4.5 million a year. So yeah, they cut him, but obviously he got his mojo back, and he wanted to come back to Chicago. And so the fact that after that fuckhead missed the double doink and Parkey, so yeah, you bring back the guy. It's like getting back with your ex-lover. I want him back now.
Same, dude. I want him back selfishly just so I can buy a Robbie Gould jersey.
Santos, he lost me when he was just like, I don't know, man. The wind, I don't want to try.
Yeah,
30-yard field goal. If you're even if Robbie misses it, like he's arrogant as shit. I get it. He rubs people, but Robbie would tell you, I can hit from 61. Oh yeah. He might miss it, but he thinks he's going to make it, right? Yeah. Like Santos doesn't even want to try it, man,
like
from 40.
Yeah, it's like a 44-yard fucking kick, and he's like, no, waved it off. I was like,
Robbie's got some stones, as they would say, right? With Jay
Cutler. I think his family still lives in Chicago too.
He still lives in Chicago.
Yeah, he still lives in Chicago. My thing is that Ryan Pace is like the worst GM we've ever had. He gets rid of Robbie Gould, and then he wants to bring him back, and I mean, he could have just renegotiated his contract to just let him work through the bad year he had and kept him all along. This is the issue I had with him. All right, so this isn't a dick, but I really love this. This was during the draft. I just love this guy's suit. Look at that suit. It's like pink floral. That's Jordan Addison. He'll probably be a dick against us.
He looks like Flava Flav there.
That's when I was thinking the same thing.
It's like a pink floral pattern with a bow tie. I don't know, Danny. Couldn't Aaron pull that off? I think it might look pretty good. No, I don't think so.
I'm already kind of pink. I don't think a pink suit is good on me.
All right. Speaking of our guy, here's Kyle Long. He's our dick. Former Bear Kyle Long said on Straight Line Pod, Justin Fields was the most fun guy to watch in the NFL last season. Doesn't think there is a ceiling to him. Yeah, Long on Fields, the things he does from a physical standpoint make your jaw drop. Aaron, what do you think of Kyle Long's statement?
I think it's accurate. I mean, was it 4 weeks he was the leading scoring offense or something like that? That was, just him. And that was too before, I think it was 1 or 2 games in to that streak before people started recognizing that they weren't even placed for him yet. It was after I think the buy or like a mini buy, then we switched and started having design runs, and it got even better. But just the things that he was able to do, I don't know how many times I've heard of different teams like, he was the hardest person to cover because you'd spy on him and he'd still get out. He'd spy on him, he'd throw it, or he'd spy on him, he'd still run for a 60-yard touchdown. There's just no stopping him.
Yeah, Danny, Kyle Long on Justin Fields.
Kyle loved Jay Cutler, and I love Kyle for it. It's just unfortunate he got hurt in Tampa, had to get carded, and was never the same after that physically. And I hope that in his personal life, I hope he's walking around okay and stuff. But he could never be the same player again after that. But yeah, I agree with Kyle, man. Like I remember being at that Miami game last year and looking at Aldo, and screaming when Fields broke that run and scored. I was like, see, he's the best player on the team. And we're talking about field, maybe he shouldn't be the quarterback. He's the best player on the fucking team.
Best player on the field, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody was even close.
Yeah, all right. Let's go on to the next one. Here's another thing from the draft was our guy, Dane Brugler, who said to all teams drafted at least 4 players from my top 10 board.
Wow.
The Bears had 6. The Steelers also had 6. The Colts, Browns, Lions had 5 off the top 100 board. Eagles, Seahawks, Packers, Falcons, Bucks, Saints, Jaguars all had 4 off of Dane Brugler's top 100 players, but the Bears had 6. I wonder which 6 they are. I'm guessing it's obviously Darnell Wright, and I'm gonna guess it's Tyler Scott and Zach Pickens. Maybe Roshan Johnson, got to be Johnson, and maybe the cornerback Tyreek Stevenson.
Well, maybe that big bastard from Florida that we drafted in the second pick. Yeah, he's a monster, man.
Mm-hmm.
That dude is huge.
Well, I saw too that all of Chicago's players that we drafted, all of them scored above an 8 out of 10 on the RAS score, the relative athletics score, I think is what it is. So like everybody we got on a scale from 1 to 10, they're at least an 8 as far as being a physical freak. So it really seems like, because I mean, how many times during articles or interviews and podcasts or whatever with polls, they said you look at the flashes, and it really seems like that's what they were looking at when they were drafting these people. They were looking at the flash on that guy, because the first Trevon Dexter and then the player after him are the one that everybody still kind of has questions about, right? But it just seems like they had enough of a flash in the pan, so to speak, to make them, Chicago's like, okay, we can really turn this guy into something.
Yeah, the Dexter guy, like I said, is just so big and it's just ripped. I mean, this body wise, like he looks like a guy that should be a great player, but I mean that never means like the whole picture, so to speak. But aesthetically, toward the eye, he passes the test. So let's hope he can play well on the field. But man, he certainly looks like a football player.
Yeah. All right. How about this? This is a dick pic. This is gonna get you and Aaron a little erect here. This guy. I actually love the Chicago Bears growing up. I still keep in touch on my Bears, making sure they're making the right moves. That's 49ers tight end, Iowa Hawkeye, former Iowa Hawkeye tight end George Kittle. Would love to have him here in Chicago.
Last year or 2 years ago,
2020.
He had a game where he's like, anything I could do to help the Bears. He's like getting off the series. Fuck, I love the Bears. He's like, he literally got
I want this
saying
guy in
anything
Chicago,
to do the Bears,
man.
Like, go Bears.
I wanted the Bears to draft him, and when he came out, he was the 5th round. I would have drafted him in the 3rd round or 2nd round. I love him coming out, but
that was too funny.
He's got a huge contract, but I mean, man, would I love to see him on the Bears? A huge Bears.
We've got a lot of money too, so you never know.
In 2020, it was like one of the first games on Amazon where you had to watch on Amazon. San Francisco beat Arizona, and the Cardinals were doing well that year, and San Francisco wasn't doing too well. But the 49ers win enabled us to make the playoffs when we lost to the Saints.
Yeah.
And he said after the game that, like, he actually said, "The Bears."
Bears.
He's like, anything we can do to help the Bears is great.
And he got off stage, like as he was, and they heard it, like he's off the stage. It's like he said something like "fuck, I love the Bears" or something like that in the back. It was so funny, dude. That's so funny.
Right. Love this guy. So here's another thing we got going on here. Let me find it here. Sorry about this. This year, the Bears and Chicago Bears are expected to have joint practices in the preseason with the Colts. That's going to get you a little fired up. Danny, what do you think? Anthony Richards versus Justin Fields.
I always think I just don't like Chris Ballard, man. He was like, because they're always like, oh, he should have had the job. And it's like, he's done nothing there. Like, I mean, how many veteran quarterbacks has he signed that have just shit the bed with the call? I mean, granted, they took the kid from Florida now, but I'm saying the Phillip Riverses and the Chad, or what's his name? The Wentz, Chris Wentz. What's his fucking name? Carson Wentz. Yeah, Carson Wentz. And they had somebody else too. It was like 3 different veterans. They kept trying to, on his watch, like signing bad quarterbacks. The point I say that is because when he was interviewing for the Bears, he was just like, oh, you got to get rid of Cutler under No, he's got to go, which is ultimately what cost him not getting the gig. And everyone's like, oh, we should have hired, Ballard. I'm like, well, what has he done? Now, granted, Andrew Luck did retire on short notice for him.
You'll have to ask Greg Gabriel when he comes on next week because he's good friends with Chris Ballard.
Well, I don't want to say that around Greg because
it'd be a good question.
I feel like Greg, if Greg disagrees with you, he wants to punch you in the jaw.
That's all right. We can ask him about what he thinks about Ballard with covertly, secretly, without giving our opinion.
Well, yeah, because it seems like almost every show Gabriel talks football, it seems like he mentions talking to Ballard. So.
Yeah,
I don't want to make Greg mad. That's all.
I don't think he'd make him mad, dude. He's from what I get from Greg, he's pretty unflappable. The dude knows his shit, and he knows that he knows his shit. I don't think you would bother him at all.
I think that would be the next Mike Florio because he hates Mike Florio, and both Mike and myself are from West Virginia, so just group us together about how stupid we are.
Oh, that's where you're okay. Yeah, shut up, kid. Yeah, got it.
All right. All right. This is an interesting dick pic here, Danny. I want to show recently on the cover of Sports Illustrated, 81-year-old Martha Stewart. Come on, Danny, would you or wouldn't you?
Ironically, she was in West Virginia when she did her prison time. I really, really strongly don't like her shows, the cooking show, whatever the fuck it is.
Would you hit
so
that?
I'm going to give you not a hard pass because that implies my dick might be hard. I'm going to give you a soft pass for Martha Stewart.
Aaron, 81 years old. You hit that or no?
That'll be a pass. It looks good. It's just not, no.
Yeah, for 81, man. Come on. Let me just answer for the barkeeper. I think the barkeeper would hit that. What do you think?
Oh, I'm sure he would. That would bring his blood pressure down. That's what we need.
Yeah,
that would solve his health issues right now.
Aaron, Martha Stewart. See if you could get Martha on the show.
Yeah, I'll get right on that. I'm sure she'll respond to me.
The prison that she was at here was the nickname was, for some reason, I don't know if it's like a pussy eating reference, but the prison she attended was called Camp Cupcake. That's not the name of the real prison. It's the nickname for the prison, Camp Cupcake. It's in a town called Alderson, West Virginia.
Well, that was Tooch's dick pics. I hope you had fun with that. So I want to move on to the next spot. We got you for another hour, right, Danny?
Yes.
All right. So recently on Twitter, someone asked, all the rage today has been AI. Danny, that can
Allen Iverson?
No, artificial intelligence with the chat GPT and all this stuff, and faking videos with AI and faking pictures with AI. So recently someone on Twitter asked AI to reimagine all mascots of all 32 NFL teams. I gotta tell you, man, that's pretty fucking funny. So I'm just gonna go through. I want the chat room. You guys vote on your favorite one. Give me a little comment or each. I'm just gonna run down alphabetically. Here we go. You'll see what I'm talking about when I start rolling this. It's the 49ers mascot reimagined. I think it's wearing a diaper, Aaron. Is that a diaper?
I don't know. I've seen those though. That's so creepy.
Danny, what do you think? 49ers mascot. Is that a diaper?
Why does he only have 2 teeth? Is he on meth?
I know. What's wrong with the teeth? Yeah. Why does he only have 2 teeth? What is that? It's like some kind of bear or something or creature. Anyways, here's the Bears. Kind of wimpy.
Yeah, I was gonna say Staley doesn't really look frightening anyway. I guess he's not supposed to because he's always with kids and stuff. But yeah, they made him look more like Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah, that looks bad.
Teddy Ruxpin.
Like horror film.
Not good, man. But it's the chat room questions are great if you're watching here. But yeah, this is what a computer imagines an NFL mascot to look like. This is. Do you even know which one this is? Just out of.
I don't know. Is that the Buccaneers?
It's the Buccaneers. Yeah, isn't that great? What's wrong with the one eye, though, Aaron? I don't know what happened to that eye, though. That's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, imagined by AI. This one here is Arizona.
Jesus.
It's the Arizona Cardinals. Like a dirty bird. It's like a sex pervert bird.
It's like Big Bird's redneck cousin.
Yeah. And here's the Atlanta Falcons. That's not terrible.
Creepy eyes.
It's not bad, Danny. Kind of like that one.
Yeah, it's
Something
the
went-
Cardinal one looked like it had something was just wrong, like from a horror film, an STD, a drug addiction. Something's not right.
That's the Arizona Cardinals mascot, imagined by AI. Here is, you know which one this is? Yeah. That's
Is
the
that supposed to be
Giant.
Cam Newton's name up there?
I don't know. It's the New York Giants mascot. I don't know what they thought they were putting Newt at the top. But
With
that's
Eli's
supposed to-
jersey?
Yeah, it's the Giants mascot. Kind of a happy. Looks like Wallace from Wallace and Gromit with orange hair. All right, moving on here. This is the Eagles mascot.
That looks like the same one they have now.
Ooh, that one's weird.
Doesn't look bad.
It's like if
This-
Jack Frost, like the snowman, Frosty the Snowman, tried to be a bird for Halloween.
The Cardinals is like Angry Birds. Someone said in the chat room. Actually, the next one's actually kind of cool. This is the Lions. Huh? That's not bad.
Yeah, that's all right, I guess.
What do you think, Aaron?
Lions, I don't think. No, that one's not that bad. It looks like an anime character, to be
It's
honest
pretty
with
good.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Vikings one's pretty good.
They give the Packers Eddie Lacy's jersey and no teeth.
Yikes.
It's the Packers jersey, the mascot imagined by AI.
That looks like the Yeti from the Frosted or the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
With Clay Matthews' hair.
Yeah, with Clay Matthews' hair.
All right, here's the Packers. I don't know what happened to
The Poo Nats?
what's Poo Nats?
That's supposed to be Carolina?
Great
Carolina
question.
Panthers. Very good, Danny. The Poo Nats.
I just went with the Blues. That's what made me think of Carolina.
Yeah, and it's kind of a panther, but I don't know what Poo Nats is, but it means something to an AI. All right, here's the Rams.
He looks like Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, shit.
It does. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened to this. Like a dopey goat face. This one, I'm
Yes.
kind of a little androgynous. Is that a nun, Danny?
That's my guess.
It looks like a nun. Saints.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
That's weird.
All right, now this is the Seahawks.
Oh,
What the hell? Is that a bird? I don't know.
Oh. I don't know.
It's like Cookie Monster,
bad.
right?
Maybe. That's fucking dope, dude. I'm totally down with that one.
Look at that one, huh, Dan? This
Yeah.
one.
I'm surprised Aaron's not a Vikings fan. He could be the Vikings
I know.
mascot.
Yeah, I guess my calling there, but
That's
all
actually
right.
kind
Yeah,
of
that one's cool.
kind of good. The AI did, yeah. All right, so this one kind of dopey. This one here.
Oh,
It's funny that they put it on 4 legs too. I think it's the only
What is
one
that?
that's on-
Who is that?
Buffalo.
Oh,
It's the Bills.
I had no idea.
I don't know if AI is such a good idea, but here's the Bengals one. This one's kind of comical. It's like a mayor, a fat mayor of Bengaltown.
Eek.
Looks like someone dressed up going to one of those furry conventions where you get together like dressed like animals and fuck each other.
I was gonna say it looks like Walter Brimley dressed up as Tony the Tiger.
If you have diabetes,
Diabetes.
It's kind of
great.
this is like anime My Pretty Pony, maybe, Aaron.
My Little Pony is definitely what that looks like. Yeah. My Little Bronies.
The
it's
Broncos
like they're trying to
mascot.
say that the Denver mascot is trans.
He identifies as a Colt, but he's really rocking.
All right, this is the Browns. I don't know. This is hilarious. Though. I don't know what it is.
Fuck is
It's like I don't know what it is, madam.
Oh, it
You
looks
know,
like a puppet you'd use to talk to kids about STDs.
Seeing the
What's up the
Baker
upper lip?
Mayfield Browns jersey on him reminds me of the fact because like earlier when we we're doing the schedule, you were like, well, they're playing Baker Mayfield, but in Fields' first start, we lost to Baker Mayfield, so he's beaten us before.
He has beaten us before. That's right. All right, this is the Chiefs, and I'm a little confused about this one here. But is that like a cheerleader?
That looks like Bert from Bert and Ernie.
I was about to
Yeah,
say
it
that
does.
definitely looks like
The
one
face
of the
is definitely
characters from
Bert.
Stephanie Street.
It's
Jesus,
Bert.
Sesame Street.
He's wearing a cheerleader uniform.
I noticed that too. That's okay.
All right, that's the Chiefs. This is the Colts. Now look at the
That's
Colts.
Big
You notice
bulge on the
anything?
Colt.
That's
there.
what I was gonna
Strange.
say. You notice the bulge right away. Big old horse cock. Danny.
Wow.
The Colts got a gigantic horse cock.
I don't like how it's dark everywhere either. Like that's gonna be a video game just chasing you around. You're trying to run away from him.
Colts, we're having joint practices with that giant horse cock, Danny.
I wish somehow we could get Quentin Nelson from them and as a part of that joint practice thing. Like, hey, because when we traded McMahon to San Diego, that was in the middle of a Bears San Diego preseason game, by the way. They were playing each other that week when Jim got traded. So
shut up. That's crazy.
Yeah, I wish we could get Quentin Nelson in the middle of the summer. They're just like, just fucking take him.
You know which one this is, Danny? I'm not,
is that San Diego or whatever that LA is?
Chargers.
The Chargers. That's crazy.
I just saw the lightning bolt.
Looks like an anime character.
I think you'll like this one. Yeah, it's the
God,
Commanders.
is that Washington?
Yeah, the Commanders.
What does he look like? John Adams or something.
Oh,
It's what
that's
the computer.
terrifying.
It's what the computer imagines it should be.
Or maybe the guy from Poltergeist 2, the evil preacher guy or whatever. The southern preacher guy from Poltergeist.
All right, this is the that's the goofiest shit.
Howdy doody, the darker years.
The Cowboys mascot. All right, here's the Dolphins. I don't know what that's like. A space dolphin. What's that orange thing in the back? It's like a tail.
It's his tail, I'm guessing.
Is he sucking his thumb too?
Even though that's a shark's tail, but whatever. I guess
crazy.
that's creepy.
It's like a dolphin head with eyebrows. Those eyebrows. I
Yeah,
didn't know dolphins had eyebrows. But this is the
that
Jaguars.
one's not bad.
That's okay.
I mean, out of the ones we've seen, I'm like, okay, that's
This is the Jets. Which that's kind of
jokey.
that's kind of cool. What does it say on
What does
it? I
helmet
can't
say?
read that.
Masters Tater? Trader? MASTRS.
I have no idea. Let's see if I
Looks
can-
like TADER. Huh.
See if I can blow it up a little bit here. Fuck. Can't read it. Let me get my reading glasses out. All right, here's the Patriots.
Oh my god. Pennywise.
Getting near the
Jeez.
end here.
Yeah.
This is the Raiders. That's kind of
kinda
cool.
Yeah, that's
I don't
some
know.
Tim Burton shit.
I don't know what Robert S is though on his shirt there. It's kind of cool though, Dan, huh? Little Tim Burton-esque.
Who's that again? Which mascot is it?
Raiders.
The Raiders.
I don't know what that is. It's very alienish.
Yeah.
This is the Ravens.
All right.
At least that makes sense.
I was gonna say at least that one you recognize.
It looks like someone beat the shit out of him. He's concussed. He's trying to find the stadium. All right. This is the
Twinkie
Those look like
Man.
pajamas.
the Steelers. And last but not least,
Okay,
That
that's
is
fucking cool.
the Texans. That's kind of
Like
cool.
that could
man.
be like a Mexican football team mascot or something like that. Like actual like football, not American football, but like I could see them doing that. I like that one. That one's dope.
Yeah. All right. So that's AI imagining the team mascots. So, all right. Should we open it up for some questions in the chat room?
Yes, sir.
What do you guys think? Open it up to chat room questions. Which one did you think was the best, you guys? Mascot.
Vikings for me. I thought the Vikings one was dope. The Texan ones at the end was pretty cool though. I like that
The
one.
Titans was kind of cool, I thought. Do we have the Titans one? Did I show the Titans? I'm gonna skip the Titans.
I don't remember the Titans one.
Where is it?
I don't remember either.
My memory's suspect.
Yeah,
so
it didn't
you
get
might have.
uploaded. What the F?
But the movie told us to remember the Titans.
I know.
We forgot him. God damn it.
Who got the Titans? What the fuck? Hold on. Where is that fuck Titans one? Yeah, it didn't load. Unbelievable. All right, loading it up. There it is.
Again, it just looks
Not
like
bad.
something from a really
God.
poor sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Japanese cartoon, maybe.
A sci-fi movie straight on the Sci-Fi Network.
Fish.
That's what it looks
yeah. Sci-fi originals.
Yeah,
like. Yeah.
There's something you see on Mystery Science
Viking,
Theater, one of those two.
people like the Vikings. Steve and me says they all fucking suck. So last weekend, you guys didn't. The schedule wasn't out during last week's show, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it dropped on Thursday.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. So we get to talk about the schedule. Nice. All right. Anything you guys want to talk about?
I'm trying to get a lady to come on with us who I've just matched with on Facebook Dating, who says she's a diehard Packers fan. I'm like, do you want to come on a Bears podcast and just like talk to us right now? No sex life. I don't even know who she is.
All right, yeah, all right.
I'm trying to get her to come on just to like tell us about Jordan Love. Essentially, I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, maybe she will. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Do I still need to run the Chris?
She says she's a Packers fan going back to Don Makowski. So I was like, okay, well, maybe she knows her shit then, you know?
Hate the Magic Man, and he used to, just escape. You know, like Makowski, Favre, Rodgers, they'll escape and make the big play against us. Like let's hope
we got cheated up there in
Love.
'89 with Mikowski in the overtime.
Yeah, he was
game.
Was he over the line over the slide?
Yeah, that's what I meant. The over the line of scrimmage. And Ditka lost his mind as he was past the line of scrimmage, and then they fucking overruled it and gave Green Bay the win.
Yep.
Seems about right.
Yep. Yeah, Dylan Prescott says take the woman to a nice seafood dinner and never call her back. I don't know. Do we have any sex life talk? I
was in Baltimore this weekend for Andrew Dice Clay and the nice female comedian Eleanor Keegan. She was so funny. But no, I didn't get any. I mean, I had a date and stuff, but it just we just watched the show and traveled together. It was fun. I went to a German restaurant. She took me to. I was like, when you say German, this isn't like there's gonna be swastikas and shit everywhere. But no, it's like German food. But I wasn't a big fan of it. I had to drop $100 on that too, but with the tip and all. But no, there's no sex to tell about, and that's okay.
Tell us about the concert.
You mean the dice?
I know. Yeah, you were sitting in the front, but you thought he'd make fun of you. Maybe?
I wasn't the guy, and I don't want to offend anybody politically. I don't feel like arguing tonight, but there's a guy up front that had like just an American flag get up on. And as soon as she gets on stage, she's like, "Where the fuck did you come from? Some NASCAR track?" And then she goes, "Is this what you were wearing when you were storming the Capitol on January 6th?" And it just went from there. This dude had to take it, and then Dice gave it to him too. I mean, it was like 2 hours, and the guy he didn't like get mad or bitch. So, but yeah, the American flag guy got me off of the hook. I think
that's funny.
Yeah,
I was wearing a Justin Fields jersey, so I was expecting like to get some hate from being in Baltimore with that, but no one said shit to me. They were all laughing at the American flag guy instead.
And Dice was classic as ever, right?
His comedy's really evolved. It's not. I mean, again, is the zeitgeist, their culture evolved? He evolved. So most of the stuff he was talking about was like shit he was doing during the pandemic and things like that. So his whole, of course, he ended up closing with the nursery rhymes, like for his like encore, and everybody was into that. So yeah. But yeah, his show was good. I mean, I'm trying to think of a joke that he said he was like, some of it was controversial still, as he was talking about imagine like your first grade pictures with your kid, and he's just building it up, going through all these scenarios with you and your daughter. And he's like, and then suddenly she's 18 with her fucking legs behind her back on TikTok, showing her fucking pussy to strangers wanting OnlyFans money. And it was so funny and so right on point with like how women make money right now, which I'm not being critical of, but it was funny,
Right on.
The Packers lady says, seriously, a Bears podcast?
Where is she? Is she in here? Or?
No, she's texting me now. She's like, a Bears podcast.
She's like, no fucking way. They're gonna just make fun of me. Yeah. So where was the concert in DC?
Baltimore, or technically in a
right?
town called Timonium, which is a suburb of Baltimore.
How was that?
Yeah,
like about a 2-3 hour drive?
5.5.
5.5. Oh, that's like me driving to Chicago. 5.5 hours.
Yeah, it was worth it, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Dice to me is a legend. I can remember watching HBO when it become, I think, 89, from like 88 to 89 live on New Year's, and they had all these comedians on, and Dice was one of them. And so again, I'm like 8 years old and still, I mean, even though I didn't get every joke, I still thought it was fucking funny. So I've been a fan of Dice my whole life.
Yeah. Heck yeah. All right. So Aaron had to go to the bathroom. So if we're not gonna get some chat room questions, I do have one thing here, and there was an article that came out Sunday about 5 Chicago Bears players who might not be back with the Bears. So first one they talk about is Kindle Vildor. What do you think?
Oh,
Any Kindle gone?
they mean this season or after 23?
Before this season.
Oh yeah, he could definitely be cut.
Okay, Kindle Vildor, one of them. Let's see. How about next guy on the list was Travis Gibson. One more season. He's got one more season with the Bears. What do you think after this season, Travis Gibson, or even before the season? Is Travis? It's not, it's not one of Ryan Pohl's guys. What do you think?
He's not one of my guys either.
Yeah.
Did you see Retro's comment? Retro, you're fucking hilarious, dude. I've been watching your comments all night, man.
Yeah. Travis
But
Gibson.
now, I think we talked a bit about Travis last week, how Poles did actually believe in him. And at one point, I think early this season, like maybe 3 or 4 games in, actually came out, and I don't remember who it was, to the Hogan Johns podcast or who else, but he basically came out and said, yeah, I feel bad for not communicating with Travis. We've had his back the whole time. And Travis even said himself multiple times, he's like, I didn't know day to day where I was. He's like, my wife and I were ready to pack up and go because I didn't know if I'd have a job or if I'd be traded or if they just cut me. So it sounds like they really did believe in him, and Poles did end up talking to him and basically told him, you're our guy. We believe in you. We want you to work. But it goes back to the motivation thing. It sounded like in the beginning, they didn't know what they'd do with him. They didn't know how he'd be. He wasn't working. He'd fit in their schemes. It sounded like it was real attitude problems, but it obviously feels like it got worked out.
They need to have the same conversation with Tevin Jenkins, man.
Oh shit. That's what I was talking about. I'm so sorry. Tevin Jenkins. That's who not Travis Gibson. I was exactly what I was talking about. I apologize.
Well, good. I'm glad, because Jenkins needs that, man.
Yeah, because he was the one. Well, because he had injuries. Yeah, I'm so sorry. That's my bad brain fart. But that was exactly who I was talking about. Tevin Jenkins, because he was on the line. He had a bad week of practice. They'd sit him. He wouldn't play. And he, week after week, he's like, I don't know if I'm going to be here. And eventually Poles talked to him and came out to everybody else in the team and the media. It's like, yeah, I talked to Tevin. He's like, I should have done a better job from the get-go.
Yeah, played pretty good when he was opposite Robert Quinn after Quinn left. Kind of disappeared, Danny.
Yeah, he really had a poor year. I mean, there's no way around it. He has to know that too.
That'd be cool to bring Robert Quinn.
How about
back?
Cody Whitehair? He's also on the list. Cody Whitehair. We need one good year out of Cody this year. What do you think? Cody Whitehair back next year, Danny, or after this year?
I don't know I said this last year. I don't know or understand why there's this like, oh, we'll move Cody back to center. Like, people just forget all the bad snaps that he had.
I know.
Even Aldo was like, there was only like 3 or 4 bad. It's like 3 or 4 bad a game, man. Like but he made the Pro Bowl one year, but he had a lot of bad fucking snaps.
Oh man, we talked about it on 100 Proof with Shane.
Yeah,
all bad snaps.
And he didn't do so well at guard either. Now, granted, I know part of the problem for Cody has been the Bears always fucking with him, moving him back and forth.
Yeah,
but he's been a part of the problem now of the Bears having a bad line since like 2016 or 15. Like, he's been a part of all these shitty lines. What I'm trying to say is, like, it's time to move on from Cody, man, in my opinion. I don't know why he would start at center. I want Lucas Patrick to start or bring somebody else in now. If you told me you cut Cody in June and save money on the cap that I think they would, then I'd be happy with that. And again, it's not personal. I don't think he's ever played above a certain level with the Bears. And if someone wants to say, oh, he made the Pro Bowl, didn't Trubisky make the Pro Bowl once? So, I mean, it's just like...
As an alternate, but yeah.
But still, I mean, anyone can make the fucking Pro Bowl, is what I'm saying, because the people that are voted in typically don't care and don't want to play. And now it's like flag football. It's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Last was released. I think the Bears are counting on him to, shore up that interior of the line. But next guy on the list, I think you guys talked about this last week, is Darnell Mooney coming back off that serious injury. What do you guys think?
From everything I've read, he's not ready yet, which is troubling. Yeah. However, given as much as we've moved as many different people, I don't know. It's tough because I want him to be good. Obviously, he's good. We know he's good. I mean, he's damn good. He's a solid number 2, but it's like with the rookie that we drafted, and if Claypool ends up turning out, we got DJ Moore. It's like Mooney, but also, like I said last week, Mooney, his best year was the year before with Allen Robinson. How we came into last year, everybody knew that Darnell Mooney was our number 1 wide receiver, so they targeted him. They took him out of the picture almost immediately. He still did some cool shit, but this year with DJ Moore, and we're going to have, Tyler Scott, and we're going to have Claypool. It seems like, I mean, even Robert Tonyan coming in as a tight end, it seems like the spotlight's not going to be quite on Mooney so much. So it's really up to him. I think he can. I think we'd like to have him back, but is he going to be up to his full potential? Is he going to be healthy enough to play well enough?
Danny, what do you think? I know you're kind of a Mooney fan.
Stand by 1 second.
All right. For me,
what do you think, Tooch?
Dan, I'm a little worried about the injury, as I said, coming off that big injury. And of course, the news dropped today. I think that polls said he wouldn't be ready as early as they had expected coming off that injury. And another article said today that Mooney was training by doing boxing. He couldn't do football drills.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been boxing, which I kind of like that, man. I look at the kid, to me, that's like, it's almost like saying, like, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight for my position.
Yeah, I never thought about it like that. Yeah.
I'm going to do whatever I can. If I can't stay in shape doing football drills, I'm going to stay in shape some other way. And Mooney isn't a big guy. He's like 5'10", 170, 180. He's slight, he's kind of a thin guy. I know he's tough, and he's strong, but when initially we first got him and I saw him on the field, I thought, man, this guy, I hope he can stand up against NFL hits.
Yeah. And I've said this so many times. I don't want to say, repeat my same line over and over, especially when Nagy was here, in spite of his size being so tiny, like Tariq Cohen, kind of like he's taller, but they're both under 200 pounds, I think.
Yeah.
And they kept running these short passes with Mooney that would put him in immediate jeopardy. And these little hook routes or that smoke screen.
I hate that so much.
It's like
he just threw it right to the sideline. I fucking hate that. I've never seen it work for us once, and we continue to do it. It's like if there's one play I want Chicago to get rid of, it's that fucking. Other teams do it and it works, but it just, for whatever reason, we just turn and lob it to the side instantly. He either misses it, drops it, or he gets I hate that play so much.
Yeah, well, my point is, it's just not. He's the guy I would want to go deep and not necessarily take the punishment that he takes. And like you were saying, he's probably not ready yet, but because he got hurt so late in the year against the Jets, I wouldn't be surprised if this is his last year here, because he's probably not going to be 100% until late in the year. And again, Claypool, they traded for a 2nd-round pick. So they're going to want to re-sign the guy they traded their pick for, unless Claypool's awful. So I think this could be the end of the road for Mooney, unfortunately. because again, our general manager currently didn't draft him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tyler Scott's kind of the same player, or same build, same size, kind of the same player. He's faster. He's faster than Mooney, though. What about Chase Claypool, last guy on the list? Which would the Bears let Claypool walk?
Question mark.
You know,
no
he
idea.
and Mooney will be up for a contract at the same time.
I think two things with Claypool. If he's really, really good this year, like a breakout year, and then the Bears don't want to pay him, I could see that. Or if he's really, really bad and underperforms and underwhelms, they would just say, we don't want to give him a deal. It was a mistake. But if he's somewhere in the middle, I think the Bears will keep him because they don't want to admit that mistake, because he's the first big pick that they made.
Yeah.
Not a draft pick sense, but with the second round pick.
First big move. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that it's his job to lose, in my opinion, even more so than Mooney. It's his job to lose. And if he plays decent, I think he'll be back if he wants to be back. Unless he asks for some crazy money figure that would have him leaving.
Mooney would do that. Like, he would have to absolutely blow up for him to do that, but he doesn't seem like, he seems like a team player, right? Because I mean, ever since we got Fields, he's been working with Fields and like been his best friend, like nonstop. I don't see Mooney being that dude. It's like, you got to pay
I was talking about Chase in that regard.
Twice I fucked up and not been listening. I apologize.
That's okay. I was saying for
I agree with
Claypool,
Chase.
if he wants big money somewhere else, I could see him leaving. Or if he underperforms so badly, if he's a good year, I think he comes back.
Hopefully,
all right. So,
hopefully he pans out. Yeah.
Let's talk about the edge rusher position. We didn't add one in the draft. Yeah. What about Justin Houston? He's the Ravens pass rusher. He's 34 years old. Last year, at the age of 33, 14 games, 25 quarterback pressure, 17 quarterback hits, 9.5 sacks. Could be an inexpensive band-aid, get some pressure on the quarterback. What do you think?
I would bring back Leonard Floyd first, because Leonard's probably about 30. And he originally was your draft pick, and maybe he comes back now and he plays the way we thought he was going to play when we drafted him, considering he's worked with Aaron Donald and won a Super Bowl and seems to still be on the market. That's who I'd bring back in, and maybe you put him at defensive end and tell him to go after the pass rusher. I don't know. The other guy, like you said, Houston, is like going to be 34 this year.
He'll be 34.
Was it 33 last year or 33 this season?
33 last year.
Yeah. Oh, that's like, unless it's a league minimum, like I wouldn't sign him. It's the kind of guy, you remember for years we'd always bring like an old safety in like that. Someone was 33, 34, and they'd always get hurt. Like, what's the guy who used to play at the Giants that we brought in? It got hurt early in the year, just as an example. Antrell Roll.
Yeah, Antrell Roll.
They bring Roll in, and like he's hurt by week 2 or something. Like, I feel like that would happen if you bring in Justin Houston, a guy that like 34. Like, that's a Band-Aid, man. Like, Leonard Floyd still got 2, 3, 4 years left with him, man.
I feel like if we do sign anybody for that position, I kind of feel like it's going to be a Band-Aid, because we didn't address it in the draft, but I bet next year that's going to be one of the first things we do is a draft with the pass rusher.
We got 2 first-round picks next year. Guarantee it. Yeah. Justin Houston finished top 20th in pressure rate and 28th in the league in pass rush win rate. So,
look at the year Robert Quinn had in 21 and look at the year he had in 22. So you can have a quick decline in your skills just by, unless you're Tom Brady. Most people, when they hit a wall in their middle 30s versus like being able to play to your mid 40s like Brady did.
Yeah, like Cliff Victoria says, Houston he's pretty good against the run. He could be one of those guys that's good into his 30s, But other guy
there,
Yannick Ngakoue. What do you think of Yannick Ngakoue? He's going to be the most
not
expensive
good in the rush, from what I understand. But if we can get that dude, what's it, 8 sacks a year average?
Yep,
8 or 9. Like,
why is he available still? What's the downside?
Well, he doesn't play the run very well, and he's the most expensive guy that's out there right now.
But as
So
far
that's
as
he's wanting more money then. So he wants a big deal, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's been going. I think he's had 1-year contracts the past couple of years, so he probably wants 2
or 3 years at least.
Yeah, 2 or 3 year deal. Another question here from the Hart Foundation. Any thoughts on going after the Jets defensive lineman Quinnen Williams? Good player. I think he's more of a defensive tackle, though. Am I wrong?
I don't know who Quinnen Williams is. I
Williams
watched
is
one Jets game last year, and it was against the
I
Bears.
saw his name actually. I think today. I think it's pretty good. Unfortunately, I'm with Dan. I'm like, if I don't know, I'm a Bears fan. I don't know many other people. You got to be a big name for me to know you on the outside, but like, I don't know. But I think I saw his name earlier. I think it's pretty good.
All right, there's some guys on the Bears who.
What are people saying about Floyd? Why is Floyd still out there?
It's a great question. I have no idea because I mean, when you look at Leonard Floyd, he's got more of a basketball player's body than a football player's body.
He's also got a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with that. I wouldn't mind. I'll take Leonard Floyd. I mean, we get all the help. We need all the help we can get. According to the chat room, the Jets will re-sign Quinnen Williams, and Williams wants around $25 million per year.
No, we're not getting him.
Defensive tackle, he's a beast. I mean, we just drafted 3 defensive tackles, so I'd say Quinnen Williams is probably not in Bears' plans. Dylan Prescott says, "What are your thoughts on Carl Lawson?"
That sounds like a guy that would either represent you if you had a DUI or clean
a lawsuit. a dentist, or a lawyer.
Exactly.
Well, on the Bears roster, there is Trevis Gibson. We already talked about him. 6'4", 263, going into his 4th year in the league. Can Trevis be that guy? We're already kind of saying no. The Bears, Ryan Poles signed Rasheem Green going into his 6th year, 6'4", 279. Probably just a Band-Aid. Who knows? Maybe he could be something good. Another guy I have is a Jalen Harris. Is a rookie out of Arizona, 6'4", 257. You got Jalen Holmes, 5 years in the league, defensive lineman from Ohio State. A lot of these guys are built like defensive tackles. I got to be honest with you. Dominique Robinson, they probably are expecting a lot from him this year. What do you think, Danny? Dominique Robinson do anything for you?
The jury's still out on him. I mean, I just don't know enough about him. Like he's been one of the league twice, 2 years so far.
Last year he was a rookie, so yeah, this is going into his second year.
Okay, so this is going into second year. I feel like he was good early on and didn't play well down the stretch, but the whole team was bad. So I don't want to put that on him yet. I haven't given up on him, is what I'm saying. I mean, it's way too early to know what you have with him. I think he needs another year or two before we know if he's like, to me, Gibson has been here long enough to where we can conversely almost write him off. Now, maybe he has a big year. It's his contract year, etc. But I could see Dominique coming back as a force. You just see, he had an entire offseason to get ready, and he could still play well. I don't know. I mean, is he going to be just a shit bust? Possibly, but we don't know yet. I don't mean to be on the fence and give you just a BS answer, but I don't know who else could tell you that he's going to be definitely good or definitely bad and really know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Last guy is DeMarcus Walker, 6'4", 280. Signed him from the Titans, going into his 7th year out of Florida State. Probably will line up in the defensive end position. I don't know, though. I mean, a lot of these guys, to me, if I were to read between the lines with all these defensive tackles, defensive ends, they're all big. There's not a lot of slight or speed guys other than Dominique Robinson. And let's see, what's this other guy's name here? He's just a rookie too, Jalen Harris. So to me, it's throwing a lot of numbers at the position and seeing what we get. Creating competition. Danny, that would lead me to believe that he's got to make a splash in free agency, get one good guy, pass rusher that come in on 3rd down. What do you think?
I would hope so. I mean, we've got the money still.
Yep.
You know, I'm so sick of these 1 or 2 year signings. They'll sign a dude that's gonna be here. Like, how many of the dudes, like even the guy from the Titans were signed on the line, he's a 1 or 2 year. Justin Jones last year, 1 or 2 years, or no, he was 3, I think. I just anytime it's like, fuck, another one. Like, I'm not gonna learn your name, dude. Like, if you're not gonna be here like 2 or 3 years, I'm not gonna learn your name. And that makes me a shitty fan, and I will learn their name. But at the same point, it's like I just signed somebody for a couple of years. I know last year was a building year, and then this year's a building year. But that was one of my things last year too. It's like another 1 year signing, fucking cool. Another 1 year signing, great. We had so many different. It was so underwhelming last year, and I know we had a lot of work to do and little money to do it. I totally get that, but like this year we had the money. It's like, why the fuck are we still getting these dudes for like 1 year? Like I understand. Get a couple of big name people. We've got the money, but this is why I'm not a GM, right? I'm just an idiot Bears fan who wants the big names and all the money. But I'm just so sick of these 1 year dudes.
Terrell Lewis, a guy, linebackers, fourth year, going to fourth year, about 6'5", 262. He rushed the passer at Alabama, if I remember correctly. Maybe he's a dude. And then they're talking about Noah Sewell, Panay's little brother. 6'2", 253 could be a guy coming in on third down to rush the passer, cause some havoc. What about Robert Quinn coming back, Danny?
I think Robert Quinn is gone. I can't imagine them bringing him back. I mean, he had a great year in 2021. We'll always remember it. He broke Richard Dent's sack record for single seasons for the Bears, and I think that's the end of it, the end of the line for Mr. Quinn. The mighty Quinn.
I think if we would have kept him, he would have done well. I just think he went downhill. He did not want to be traded, from what I understand. So I think if we would have kept him, he would have been, I mean, hell, if he would have been half as good as he was in 21 last year, it would still have been, something huge for us.
All right. Another area of the Bears team that has undergone some change, a lot more competition. Will be there this year is the offensive line, man. I want to know what's going to happen to guys like Larry Borum and Jatiri Carter. What do you guys think? Larry Borum, what do you think? Stick around? Is he gone?
Best. Yeah, I mean, I'm not super sold on him. I think he did well enough, but when you sign Larry Borum and then you sign Braxton Jones, and Braxton Jones is a name you hear over and over and over, that's not good for Larry Borum. Well, I guess, okay, so the rule of thumb is you don't want to hear an offensive lineman's name, but you hear Braxton Jones being praised. He's like the only fifth-year rookie who started every snap for a team last year. So it's kind of, it's different to think about Larry Borum in the same light as Braxton Jones at this point.
Yeah, Borum played quite a bit last year, huh, Danny?
He played quite unimpressively last year, but once more, the whole damn offensive line was terrible, which is part of the context of Justin Fields. What I think that people ignore when his detractors come after him and say, he doesn't throw well enough to be a franchise quarterback. When how the hell do you know when he's got like 1.8 seconds or less to move because the line is so bad, so that's part of the reason I wanted Whitehair gone, because he's consistently been a part of all these bad offensive line rotations. Larry Borum, like Cliff Victoria said, maybe he's a backup because he's got some experience. Maybe you could keep him as your backup right tackle. I don't want him starting. The kid that we just got from Tennessee that signed, and I mean the Volunteers, the rookie,
right,
and here from West Virginia, no less. But I would put him. He and Braxton Jones are your tackles, right? So you got to commit one way or the other for Jenkins, man. Like, if you want to put him at left guard, let him know now. Then you got the guy they signed from the Titans at right guard, and then maybe Lucas Patrick at center. And then everything else from that, I still think they should sign somebody else. The way they signed late last year with Riley Reif and Schofield, somebody like that you can get after June, because some help, man. Because again, that's the thing to me. I know everyone's going to obsess over edge rusher. To me, the thing that we still aren't sure about, again, is the offensive line, and we've got to protect number one so that he can prove that he's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. Another guy. What about your guy Dieter Eisland? Gone, Danny?
God, he didn't play well when he was in there, at least not from. Yeah. But I'm just a bum on the couch. I'm just saying. But I was like, who's this guy? Oh, he's awful. I mean, but again, maybe you got to have backups.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I don't know what we have with that other guy that could play center that was hurt. Kramer. I don't know what we have with him at all.
What about Alex Leatherwood, 6'5", 312?
On paper, he should be a guy that we should be able to utilize. He's drafted first round with Oakland, and maybe, like Nomad said so eloquently, he's the left side of the line kind of guy, and they were forcing him to go on the right, and he just struggles out. He's according to Noah, I didn't know, but know that his strength is on the left side.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he is your backup swing tackle or guard on the left side, and don't put him somewhere where he struggles. Just the fact that he's a first round pick means he's got some skills. Maybe he never becomes anything. Maybe he's just Ryan Leaf was a first round pick. So maybe that means nothing, but still, maybe that's a guy you still take a flyer on though, based upon potential.
Yeah. What I understand with Leatherwood is he was kind of the same thing as Trubisky. It sounds like he may have been overdrafted. It sounds like he shouldn't have gone as high as he did, and they put him on a side of the line that he shouldn't have been on. I mean, you talk about Poles. I fucking hate the word guru. I hear it so much. He's an offensive line guru. He knows the offensive line. He wants to build it. He wouldn't have picked him up off the waivers as fast as he did if he didn't see something there that he didn't like.
Exactly.
All right.
I concur.
Yeah. Like Cliff Victoria says, last week of preseason, all teams need to cut down to 53 players. There'll be literally 1,000 free agents.
I think, going back to what Dan said about the line, I think we'll still maybe pick up on lineman or two. I think once the cuts come around towards camp, I think Poles has a whole slew of dudes that he likes and he wants to keep an eye on. I think we're going to sign 2 or 3 different more people.
Yeah, he has to, Danny. You got to have some veterans out there for the young guys.
Yeah, essentially exactly what Cliff just said.
We're not completely embarrassing ourselves, and you got to protect Justin Fields when it comes down to bottom line.
The stat to me that's still glaring, and I've said this on the air like 2 weeks ago or whatever, but it's worth reiterating. Think about this once more. The kid that we just drafted, what was he?
Darnell
the
Wright.
9th pick in the draft, right? The 9th pick. He was the first.
No. 11th?
The
10th pick. Yep.
Yeah,
the
10th. We moved one spot back.
Right. Good point.
One
Good
spot
point.
down. Yep.
Either way, he was the first Bears offensive lineman selected in the top 10 of the draft. For the first time, the Bears selected a lineman in the top 10 since Jimbo Covert in like 1983.
Oh, shit. No kidding.
So that's what I'm saying. For almost a generation, they've allowed the offensive line to not be built properly. They've been putting Band-Aids on it and hoping
and switching people around. And that is one fucking thing that's driven me nuts about the Bears. It's like, here's this guy. Yeah, Kyle, thank you. Kyle Long. It's like, you're over here, you're right guard. Now you're left guard. Let's see if you can play tackle. And then we're going to put the center over. They never solidified it. And that's one thing that I like about the current coaching staff is they may switch if they need to, but all throughout training camp and preseason, they're like, we're going to mix this up. We're going to see who fits where. We're going to plan them there.
But to not have an offensive lineman selected in the top 10 for 40 fucking years,
right,
is part of the reason why you never have a good offensive line, because you're not investing in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, kudos to Poles for drafting a guy high right now, thank God. But he didn't touch the line the rest of the draft, though. So hopefully they sign somebody else, because I'm not convinced it's going to be great. And especially if you're going to have Cody back at center, then holy shit, I've got PTSD from his fucking snaps, man. So
there's a part of me that wonders / hopes that Poles likes what we have on the line. I mean, you got to think that if he really thought that was like a big red flag, he would have addressed it more. But maybe he likes what he's seen. We got a second year with Fields having a couple of different receivers, a new running back. You kind of wonder if he's like, okay, so we've got a line that's good enough. And I think I think he will sign at least one more big name tackle or guard, whoever it is on the line. I'm a little suspicious. I wonder if he likes what our offensive line room looks like, because obviously he'd be privy to more than we'd know, because he wouldn't have not addressed it if that wasn't the case.
And look at PJ's comment. Again, it's just what we were talking about with Tevin Jenkins playing multiple positions. And now they may move him to left guard. It's like, dude, put that kid somewhere where and tell him this is your spot and quit fucking with him.
Yeah.
And quit making him think he's going to get cut or traded. If you're going to commit to him and he's a guy on your team, then give him a fucking blowjob, give him a hug and say, you're important to us. And look, you're going to play here, and let him have the entire summer to get ready. Don't be fucking, remember Kyle Long in 2015 when the Bears opened with the Packers on opening day? It was after the fucking summer. The week in between the cuts and week 1 is when they shifted Kyle Long to right tackle. If you're going to put him at right tackle, give him the whole summer to get ready for it. They literally switched him the week between preseason and week 1. That's not fair to Kyle. It's not fair to the rest of the team. It's not fair to Jay or anybody else at that time. Right. But that's so Bears, man. It just annoys the shit on me that they never invest in the line. I'm talking now because I felt like we had some dead air there. So.
No, I'm the same way. Well, especially like higher picks too, because it's like, who the fuck would have thought a 5th round pick and Braxton Jones was going to turn out? So it sounds like all he's got to do is get stronger and put on a little bit of muscle mass or a little bit of weight, and it sounds like he's going to be even better this year. So I imagine that we're going to pick up at least one more offensive lineman, maybe even an edge rusher too, because it sounds like from the articles that I've read, it sounds like Poles may be targeting a trade for an edge rusher. So it sounds like we may get a bigger name in here too, which you'd like on the line, but not necessary. You know, it's if we could just get a dude on the line, and that's one more solid piece. I think that'll make a world of difference.
I saw Greg Gabriel was wholeheartedly against picking up the young from Washington.
Yeah,
he does not want the Bears to trade for him.
I think I remember that too. Doesn't he have a history issue or injury history issue rather?
I wasn't sure what the opposition was. Usually Greg seems to be right on these things though.
Yeah, not for sure. So I trust him.
Yeah. All right. Got about 10, 15 minutes before we all got to jet out of here. Anything in the world of movies or television, as we usually call
I watched a bizarre movie last night, and I mentioned it to Aldo earlier because, Aldo being, he and I don't want to put myself in the same category, but we're movie buffs kind of,
Yeah.
And Bill Friedkin, of course, did The Exorcist and other movies we've talked about before, To Live and Die in LA, things like that. I watched one I'd never heard of last night, and it wasn't that it was bad, but it was I think it was supposed to be like a satirical comedy. And Aldo's response, I'll tell you what it is in a second. Aldo said he didn't even mention it in his memoir. Like it was just like a forgotten film.
Really?
But it starred Chevy Chase of all people, who normally wasn't playing the facetious dickhead.
I've heard he's an asshole.
Yeah, well, but a lot of his lines, a lot of Chevy,
asshole.
You know how Chevy was in Caddyshack. That's kind of the way he is in most of his roles. But he really was trying hard to not be the same guy in this. You had Sigourney Weaver and Gregory Hines, but the film was called Deal of the Century from 1983.
I never heard of it.
Exactly. I was like, William Friedkin directed this? Fuck. So I go to watch it, and it's like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a comedy. I know it's satirical against Reagan and Bush's, administration, which are still in their first 4 years there, with arms and, it's political, but again, I think it's supposed to be funny. It's like, it's not that I didn't enjoy it, but it just wasn't funny though. It's like, it should have been more of a drama or thriller versus a comedy, I think. But yeah, it was strange. I couldn't figure out what genre they were trying to fucking cater to.
Aaron, anything new shows?
Nothing new, but I've been watching. My wife and I've been watching The Blacklist. And fucking absolutely love that list. It's got to be one of my favorite shows. It never lets you down. Like I was talking about last week, there's some stuff they mentioned in passing once or twice in season 1 in the very beginning that they paid off in season 5. It's like, you think about it, it's like, oh dude, that they introduce somebody that they've this kind of happened and this kind of happened, and then season 5 they bring it back full circle. There's no we're 7 seasons. There's no down season. It just doesn't stop. They keep making interesting. Yet the chemistry between the main characters are awesome. It's just never a dull moment. And I can't remember a show that's literally made me cheer out loud as many times as I have with The Blacklist.
Wow. Okay.
Where you're not expecting something, you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be bad, and then somebody shows up and saves the day, and it's like, oh fuck yeah! It's like it's so good, man.
Is that James Spader?
Yeah, James Spader.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Very
And
cool.
I mean, also anything he can deliver a line like nobody else. So anything with James
great.
Spader, I'm probably gonna watch.
Right, Danny. I can't remember. I was trying to remember the name of the show. It's like the making of The Godfather. You wanted?
Oh, The Offer.
The Offer. Okay,
it is fucking great. It, like, again, not saying it's The Sopranos or something, but if you like The Sopranos, and I know you did, and you like The Godfather, you're gonna love this fucking show. I mean, like, Aldo had never watched it either, and watched it, and he was like, "You're right. It's great. It's great. It's 10 episodes." You start on that shit tonight after the show, it'll be like Thursday, Friday. You're gonna be like, I'm finished. I couldn't put it down.
Right. I have been watching Silo on Apple TV, which I'm enjoying based on the book. Pretty good mystery. There's a community, a large community of like hundreds of floors of an underground silo that have been living there for hundreds of years, following what they believe, they don't even know anymore, they've been down there so long, was a some kind of apocalyptic event, or and people sometimes get stir crazy and they want to go outside, and other people can gather and watch the people leave the silo, and of course they seem to die when they leave the silo, so that's the mystery. And who built the silo, what's it?
Sounds like something I'm into.
Yeah, it's on Apple TV. I'm enjoying. There's only 3 episodes so far. And end of the game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, 132 to 126, Denver over LA. I'm lucky. I had the over, and I had Denver minus 5.5, so I'm a winner on both of those ones. So Jokic and LeBron going head to head. First game goes to the Nuggets. Danny, you like basketball? I know you do.
I loved it, man. I gave up the NBA during my marriage because my ex-wife was telling me that, like, I spent too much time on sports. So I quit watching baseball and the NBA to placate her. I was like, look, don't ask me to stop watching the Bears. That's not going to happen. And and now again, I'll go back and watch a playoff game here or there, and it's just not the same. Even just little things make me pissed off about the NBA. Like, why are they suddenly like, our whole lives, like if you just take Lakers Celtics, our whole lives, the Lakers wore yellow at the Forum, the Celtics wore green when they came into LA. And when they went to Boston, they wore purple, the Lakers, and the Celtics were white. Now they flip-flop that shit without any explanation. Like, they're wearing their road jerseys at home, and like, God, that pisses me off for some reason. And then every team's changing uniforms every 2 years anyway. Just the game's kind of passed me by because I was just away from it. And then baseball, it's just like now these other rules, like the extra inning, put a guy on second. There's a pitch count. There's, you could have a game end in 7 innings and shit. I'm like, what the fuck, man? They just passed me by because I wasn't watching. So now, like, I missed that transition period. So it just went from the way I remembered it to the way it is without a middle ground. So I think giving it up, I sort of, I just missed out is what I'm saying. I loved the NBA before, though, from the 80s until about 2000, I don't know, 12 or 10, somewhere through there is when I basically when LeBron went to Miami is around the era where I just quit watching it just to make her happy.
Well,
because she hated basketball.
Nikola Jokic, 34 points, 14 assists, 21 rebounds. God damn. That's a pretty good line there for the Joker. LeBron finishes with 26 points, 9 assists, 12 rebounds. Both guys, Jokic had a triple-double. LeBron James just missed a triple-double. Anthony Davis pours in 40 points, a big comeback for the Lakers. Is that a second season of that Hang Time Lakers or Winning Time, whatever it is, the Lakers show?
When does that come back?
I don't know. There is a second season, though, right?
Yes.
Nice. Yeah. Man, Jokic, 21 rebounds, 34 points, and 14 assists. Damn. Whew, boy. Right on 132 to 126. Denver takes game 1. Tomorrow night, you got the Heat and the Celtics. Aaron, you a basketball fan? NBA?
Man, I was not a basketball fan. I was a diehard Shaq fan. From the second he got in the league, when I was paying attention, I watched him from the Magic to the Lakers to the Celtics. And I was a huge, it's kind of the same thing. I used to be a big mixed martial arts fan, but not the sport, but like a certain fighter. So when Shaq left, I kind of just stopped watching it. I wasn't the biggest basketball fan, but I mean, I was huge for whatever reason. I was a huge Shaq fan.
Yeah, Danny, the Lakers always seem to get those star power, with the draw of the Lakers, from Kareem to Shaq to LeBron. Guys just like to play there. I'm probably leaving a bunch of them out.
James Worthy, Magic.
Yeah, Magic. All the ones on the winning time, Magic. And, man, what a great show, man. Can't wait for that one to come back. Man, it was so entertaining. Anything else before we head out of here? I know, Danny, you got to get to saving lives.
Well, that's a little bit dramatic, but yeah.
We should probably do our shout-outs, huh? We got a little bit of time here.
All right, I'll jump in and say once again, shout out Aldo. Hope he's going to get better here and join us again. He's probably out next week as well. And once more, the gentleman that's supposed to hook us up with tickets, Ron, says he might come on for us next week. And told me, he's like, dude, you have my word. Buy your flight. I have. And so he's like, don't worry, you're going to get the ticket. So he's in the third row on the Bears sideline. He says he's going to give them to us for fucking free.
Right, dude, that's dope.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
It was his idea. He reached out to Aldo, but that was the day Aldo went to the hospital. So Aldo told me, he's like, I can't handle this shit today, man. He's like, you deal with it. Reach out to Ron, essentially, and see what you come up with. And initially, of course, I was like, hey, Ron, are you I bet you're going to that Green Bay game, aren't you? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, hey, Ron, what about Denver? Because Aldo said he'd like to see Russell Wilson live, but that was Ron's birthday weekend. So then I was like, okay, Ron, what about the Raiders? He's like, I will give you the Raiders tickets. I'm like,
cool,
okay.
Very dope.
So I've already booked my flight. So in the event that for some reason that Ron can't follow through, and he says he will, but if he can't, I'll end up buying tickets anyway because my flight, is essentially not
That'll be
refundable.
cheap. Game day, though, I would think they're trying to sell them all. So.
Have you seen the fucking price of the Packers tickets for week 1?
No, I haven't, but I just seen the price even for the Raiders nosebleeds ones were like $300 a piece.
There's some going for $1,000 for Green Bay. Now, granted, that's in the second and third level, though, not the first.
Oh, but he's still.
The second and third level as much as $1,000 right now in Ticketmaster for week 1.
Boy, oh boy.
So yeah, Ron. Hopefully will join us next week. Hopefully Aldo will be back with us in 2 weeks. That's the working goal that we hope that Aldo will be back in 2 weeks.
All right. Nice. Good couple shout outs there, Aaron.
No, shout out to you guys for having me on, and shout out Aldo. Hopefully he's doing well, and we'll be here to obviously, if sure he's listening, take all the time, dude. We got plenty of people lined up that can step in for you. Obviously not replace you, but we're always happy to give you some time off.
All right. Yeah, of course, I'm going to shout out the barkeeper. Of course, when I heard, I got worried, of course. So my prayers are with Aldo, of course. Like I said, Aldo's like a big brother to me. 2017, I started writing articles for the Barroom website, and then started making appearances here and there. Then Joe Mandel and I had a little show called Fantasy Football Goon, and Joe and I were producing shows. I was cutting a lot of audio for, 100 Proof, Danny. I don't know if you remember. You and I made some intros and stuff, and then of course,
sure.
You and Aaron and I were doing I Have a Stream with lots of people. Joe Mandel. My sultry neighbor and Greg Braggs.
We had Phil on too, once or twice.
So fun time, Phil and Shane. Yeah, and fun time.
We had Mike North on.
Mike North, yeah, with Mike North on.
I wasn't on that one. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was on that one.
Yeah, it's great. And it was just audio back then before we made the jump to StreamYard and video and all that stuff. So a shout out to the chat room as well. Of course, I don't think that Aldo left the closing video for me. So to be just a little cold close.
My God.
We could do like what the network TVs did in like 1985. Just go to the fucking flag and play the anthem, and that was it.
What's that? This
Something.
Have a singing light bulb. That's our flag. Flagship. All right. Well, for Dan Aguirre and Aaron Mikulski and myself, Aldo Gandia, and all the Bar Network personalities, we are gonna sign off. Everybody, have a good one.